On the eve of the postgraduate entrance exam, my boyfriend Liam tried to help his white moonlight steal my spot. He deliberately used a birthday celebration as an excuse to smash a cream cake in my face. I was hospitalized due to my cream allergy and missed the exam. I got into a car accident on my way to confront Liam. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the surprise party on my birthday, sweetheart. I've got a surprise for you. Are you excited, then? Liam raised the cake and hurled it straight at me. I quickly ducked. And so, the cake Liam threw with his own hands landed squarely on the face of his beloved Sue. A surprise. I'll show you what a real goddamn surprise is. 1. The entire room was stunned into silence the moment the cake splattered onto Sue's face with a wet splat. Just a second before, Sue, cool and elegant like a pure white moonlight, wore a gentle smile on her lips, her eyes glinting with barely concealed schadenfreude. In the very next instant, before Sue could even let out a cry, her beautiful face was completely buried by the sudden onslaught of cake. Je ne what are you dodging for? Liam was about to lunge at Sue. I grabbed another piece of cake with my bare hands and smeared it right across his face. You like to play games? I'll play with you. Liam got a face full of cream with a wet slap. While he was busy wiping his hands, I had already slipped the phone out of his jacket. Swiping past the pattern lock, the chat window on Liam's WeChat displayed a glamour shot of Sue. In the photo, Sue was lying in a sea of daisies. She was dressed provocatively, with an expression that was both innocent and seductive. Her large, sparkling eyes held an innocent, dreamy look that instantly stirred a man's protective instincts. Fighting back my disgust, I publicly played the voice messages he had sent to Sue one by one, turning the volume all the way up. Xiaowei. The only reason I'm dating Zhou Nua is for you, Xiaowei. As long as I'm by her side, she won't be able to compete with you for the professorship. For the birthday party, I bought a cream cake. Zhou Nua is allergic to cream. The graduate student spot is definitely yours. The entire room fell silent in an instant. 2. It's my birthday today, and the venue is a KTV that Liam booked. Everyone who showed up were close friends and classmates from over the years. My roommate, Suyu, couldn't help but curse. What a scumbag. I grabbed a wine glass and flung its contents right into Liam's face. Liam, who had just wiped the cake from his face, was now drenched to the bone. Seeing me grab Sue's hand as if to demand an explanation, Liam immediately pulled Sue behind him, shielding her protectively. Come at me if you have a problem. Leave Xiaowei out of this, I demanded while wiping my hands with a tissue. Liam, you knew I was allergic to cream. And you still bought that cake and threw it at me on purpose. Did you really think I'd let you off the hook? Liam's face went pale, but he tried to act composed. It was just a joke. Don't take it so seriously, I said coldly. So all that effort you put into chasing me, bringing me breakfast, saving me seats at the library, was actually for Sue all along. In this day and age, to stoop so low and debase yourself for true love. Liam, you've really taken being a simp to a whole new level. How impressive. After I exposed Liam's true nature, he simply threw caution to the wind. I was just toying with you. So what? My eyes were filled with a chilling coldness. You did this surprise on purpose too. Liam's demeanor visibly faltered a bit before he finally spoke. This was my own idea. It has nothing to do with Xiaowei. Besides, if you hadn't started competing with Xiaowei in the first place, none of this would have happened. Right. Upon hearing this, the people present all wore expressions that were hard to describe. What the hell is this piece of crap? Just then, a male classmate named Shuangxi, sharp-eyed, noticed that Sue was acting strange. Stop arguing, everyone. It looks like Sue can't breathe. Only then did Liam step forward to check on Sue. Qinjia called for an ambulance. My eyes darkened. The cake was prepared as Liam had specified, with a thick layer of cream, but the middle was packed with mango. I'm allergic to cream. Sue is allergic to mangoes. 2. Harm set, harm get, slash and hurting others. You hurt the one you love. This surprise was the last thing Liam expected. 3. The ambulance took Sue away. Liam followed closely the whole way, even forgetting the breakup argument we were in the middle of. Everyone watched the ambulance depart, their expressions a mix of shock and confusion. It was a lot to process. Having just witnessed such a dramatic and absurd scene, my roommate Suyu put an arm around my shoulder. Zhou Nua, don't be sad. You're better off without a man like that. Words of comfort came from all around me. Yeah, it's all in the past now. It's a good thing you realized it sooner rather than later. However, there were also some dissenting voices. Zhou Nua, you didn't really lose anything. You just ruined a birthday party. But Sue ended up in the hospital. We all turned to look in unison. It was Qinjia. Qinjia's girlfriend, Gung Lu, jumped forward. Are you out of your damn mind? Still pushing victim blaming at a time like this. So you think Sue is innocent? Zhou Nua deserved to get a cake smashed in her face. Liamo already admitted he did it for Sue. Why are you here defending the one who benefited from it? Qinjia hurriedly explained. No, of course not. Deng Le didn't even wait for an explanation. After a quick greeting, he just walked straight off. Qinjia hurried after him. Seeing this, the others all drifted away too, as they were leaving. Someone muttered under their breath, no wonder Sue is the department's beauty queen. She sure has a lot of admirers fawning over her. Suyu's expression turned serious as well. Zhou Nua, Sue knew all along that Liamo set you up. How could she just stand by and do nothing? Why didn't Sue do it? She's done plenty. Actually, all through our 4 years of university, she couldn't outdo me in our major courses. She'd then complain, all wounded and resentful, that the teaching staff let students grade the papers. The student council president once confided that he thought more highly of me. She, in turn, claimed she was no good at social niceties and often felt ostracized by certain people in her daily interactions. This time, Sue and I were competing for the same professor's graduate student spot, so I confided in Liamo about my grievances and how tough it was. All along, Sue has maintained this persona of being aloof from worldly strife. As serene and unassuming as a chrysanthemum, all she needs to do is furrow her brow slightly and say something ambiguous, and simps like Liamo will jump to her defense. If I hadn't accidentally seen Liamo's WeChat chat history in my past life, I would never have imagined my chance at grad school would be ruined by a manipulative, two-faced girl. Even at today's party, Sue showed up empty-handed, clearly just here to watch the drama unfold. Suyu, reading the look on my face, pretty much pieced together the whole story. I said no one invited her, so what's she doing here? Sue is just despicable. She didn't warn you or stop Liamo. She came specifically to watch the show. 5. Sue was hospitalized with a face swollen like a pig's. She spent a week in the hospital and, naturally, missed her postgraduate entrance exam interview. As for me, I had made all the necessary preparations in my past life. During the interview, they spoke with poise and demonstrated a solid grasp of the fundamentals. Even when faced with the most challenging questions, they provided confident, composed, and insightful answers. The professor adjusted his glasses and asked the customary question. Why have you chosen to pursue graduate studies under my supervision? I remembered that before I entered, the professors looked a bit weary from the interviews and were already discussing what to have for lunch. I decided to take a chance and said, because the senior students always say that if you follow you as an advisor, you'll eat well. The professors were taken aback for a moment, then burst into laughter. The professor adjusted his glasses again and said with a smile. Good thing I'm not Tang Sanzang, but I am a vegetarian. I mustered my courage and added, even just a sip of soup would be fine. The teachers were in stitches. From my advisor's approving yet teasing look, I felt pretty confident this time. After leaving the exam hall, Suyu came to pick me up, and we went over how it went. Hearing my answer, Suyu couldn't help but give me a playful smack. Sis, being this impulsive is really going to hurt your career prospects. You know, it won't. I had looked into my advisor beforehand. He's famously the department's old eccentric. My off-the-cuff remarks were just the kind of thing that old eccentric loves. Just as I was thinking, Suyu nudged me. Only then did I see, at the distant cafeteria window, Liamo and Sue standing side by side. 6. Sue was the university's famously understated, natural beauty. Amidst the noisy, bustling chaos of the cafeteria, she possessed a uniquely poised, cool, and intellectual beauty. Liamo was a handsome guy from the civil engineering department, standing at 6 feet tall and quite easy on the eyes. Back when he was pursuing me, the main reason I fell for him was undoubtedly that handsome face of his. What happened at my birthday party is already known to quite a few people at the university, so they're just standing there together, out in the open like that. Is this their official public announcement? Suyu was seething with rage. What a pair of scumbags, thick as thieves. Thank goodness you're okay, Zhou Nua. I could have killed them. Okay, how could everything be fine if I hadn't been reborn? Those two would probably be flaunting their love right in front of my tombstone by now. I saw them sit down at a table facing each other, pick up their chopsticks, and start feeding each other, their eyes full of suggestive glances. I walked up to them, crossed my arms, and asked, you two, don't you think you owe me an explanation for what happened before? Liamo was the first to speak up, directing his reproach at me. Zhou Nua, wasn't that matter already settled? Are you ever going to let it go? Sue's expression shifted, and she spoke in her usual understanding tone. Liamo, don't talk about Zhou Nua like that. Zhou Nua, this is all my fault. You two should talk this out. I'm going to leave first. Su quickly stopped her. Don't even think about leaving. You're one of the people involved, at the birthday party. Lee Mo admitted it herself. She threw a cream cake at Zhou Nua, hoping to trigger her allergy so she couldn't compete with you for the graduate spot. Don't you want to say anything in your defense? That day, you were hit with a cake by Lee Mo and ended up in the hospital with a mango allergy. Now you're having an intimate dinner with him again. Doesn't that prove you two are in cahoots? Sue bit her lip, raising her cold, stubborn dark eyes. Don't push me too far. I never did any of it. I said coolly, if you're truly innocent, why would you just accept this slander without a fight? I turned my head and asked Lee Mo, did we break up? Is that why you're in such a rush to have dinner with your goddess? Is this her half-hearted reward because your plan to frame me fell through? Out of all the places, 5-star hotels, Michelin restaurants, you had to pick the cafeteria. Lee Mo shot to his feet. Zhou Nua, I told you. It has nothing to do with Xiaowei. If you think I'm framing you, go ahead and call the police. There's no real harm done, so stop playing the victim. I didn't get angry. I laughed instead. I may not have been physically harmed, but I have all your chat logs with Su Wei. A man like you isn't just dirty, he's cheap. You threw yourself at me for a vague promise. If Su Wei wants another expensive gift next time, will you have to go work at a brothel? 7. Li Mo came from a difficult family background. With an alcoholic and abusive father, and a mother who remarried early. When we were together, I genuinely cared for him, so, when I targeted his vulnerabilities, I hit the mark every single time. His pride wounded, Li Mo flew into a rage and immediately overturned the dinner plate in front of him. The food and the tray went flying together. Suyu and I had already taken cover far away, but splatters of broth landed on Suwei's shawl and boots. Everyone in the cafeteria turned to look, giving Li Mo's outburst quite the spectacle. Fury flared in Li Mo's eyes, but it died just as quickly when they fell upon Suwei's pale, frightened face. Suwei was terrified. Xiaowei, I didn't mean it. I'm so sorry. With that, like a panicked child, he dropped to one knee and used his sleeve to wipe the dirt from Suwei's long boots. Suwei must have been utterly astonished, backing away in quick succession. She backed up so far that she bumped right into me and Suyu. Suwei carried a deep, lingering fragrance, the kind of rich, meditative scent you might find in a Zen studio, meant to focus the mind. She must have applied quite a lot. As she approached, the scent instantly overpowered the aroma of the cafeteria food. Suyuadu sneezed. Stop backing away. He's trying to lick you. What are you dodging for? Suwei's face was a picture of pure awkwardness. I muttered sarcastically. Getting into grad school is a big deal for you, right? Can you really just swallow your pride after getting dragged down by such a pathetic simp? Then, I put on a bright smile and declared loudly, Li Mo, as of today, you are no longer my boyfriend, but let me make this clear, we're not breaking up. I'm dumping you because you're disgusting. Suyu added fuel to the fire by cupping her hands in a mocking salute toward the pair. To the department beauty, Su, and the scumbag, Li, may you be stuck with each other forever, a match made in hell. With that, we turned and left without a backward glance. Who knows how Suwei and Li Mo resolved things in the end. All I wanted was to feel that sweet release. 8. This time, the whole school was buzzing with gossip about me, Li Mo, and Suwei. Su, the department's belle, has a big reputation, but her tactics are nothing special. She had someone anonymously post on the campus confession wall, hinting that there was suspected favoritism in this year's graduate school entrance exams. The post got a lot of clicks. It didn't name names, but it suggested the person who got the unfair advantage was a computer science girl who'd recently been through a particularly messy, public breakup. They might as well have carved my name on it. My homeroom teacher pulled me aside and said that some baseless gossip could affect my postgraduate entrance exam. I was too much of a pushover in my past life. In this one, I have to be fierce in how I deal with people, I said. Whoever's spreading these rumors, tell her to come out. I'll confront her face to face and we'll see who's making things up. The head teacher said sternly. The school won't just take an anonymous accusation at face value, but when students break up, there's really no need to make such an ugly scene. I knew the department just wanted to avoid trouble, especially for us seniors, who'll be getting our diplomas in just a few months. With graduation just around the corner, the school certainly wouldn't be pleased about such a bombshell being dropped, but I never intended to let Suwei and Li Mo off the hook easily in the first place. If they had the nerve to do it, they shouldn't be afraid of things getting ugly, so I said to the homeroom teacher, Professor, I'm applying for a master's program here at our university, so I'll likely be staying on campus. I'm not foolish enough to let things spiral out of control. It's the rumor mongers who are the problem. They'll graduate and leave, and I'll be left holding the bag for the mess they created. Is that fair, Professor? The homeroom teacher looked at me for a moment and said sternly, "Don't worry. The forum moderator is your junior. The post will be deleted tonight, however. If anyone tries to involve the department's selection process in their personal affairs, the university will certainly investigate." Exactly, we're from the computer science department. Do you really think tracing an anonymous account on the school's internal forum is difficult for us, right? Sue was just posting some anonymous threads. I went ahead and posted a video directly to my social media feed. Someone was recording a video at the birthday party that day. Originally just meant to be a keepsake, unexpectedly, the camera angle perfectly captured the few seconds before Liam hurled the cake at me, the moment he and Sue locked eyes, their faces wearing eerily synchronized, knowing smirks. The look on their faces made it obvious to anyone with eyes that they were up to something. I'm splicing together the surveillance footage from the KTV with the video from my phone. To make sure the audio is perfectly synced with the video and to leave no room for excuses about not hearing it clearly, I've even thoughtfully added subtitles. "Darling, I've got a surprise for you. Are you happy? For this birthday party, I bought a cream cake. Je Noir is allergic to cream. That graduate school spot is definitely yours. If you hadn't tried to compete with Xiaowei in the first place, none of this would have happened." The cause and effect were crystal clear. My WeChat Moments post blew up within an hour. Compared to Sue's anonymous post on the campus confession wall, the reach and public impact of a WeChat Moments post is on a whole other level. 3 hours later, I got a call from Liam. "Je Noir, take that post off your social media right now. Do you have any idea what you're doing? If Xiaowei's reputation is ruined, how is she supposed to graduate, find a job, or take the civil service exam?" I said coolly, "Don't worry. Your reputations are tied together for good. Not a single one of you is getting out of this. I'm just sharing this video for everyone to see. Let's find out who the hell actually enjoys a surprise like this. Besides, justice is in the public's hands. Have you suffered any real, tangible harm? Weren't you the one who said no tangible harm, no victim? I'm throwing that line right back at you." With that, I hung up the phone and blocked all of Liam's and Sue's contact information. A bit later, I posted a mouth-watering 9-grid collage of me and Sue feasting on hot pot. The caption read, "After a meal like this, my good fortune is just around the corner." I was certain that Liam and Sue would see this WeChat Moments post. Serves them right if it drives them crazy. Sue studied my expression carefully and said, "Je Noir, you seem different from before." I raised an eyebrow. "How so?" Sue said cautiously, "You've got more guts, you're bolder. And you don't hold back." I took a sip of the beer, a slightly bitter taste spread through my mouth. Given my quiet nature in my past life, if someone had posted about me anonymously, I probably would have rushed to defend myself, falling right into Sue's trap of trying to make me prove my innocence. Little did I know, when something is fabricated from the start, no matter how much I explain, it's likely to just make things look worse. In that case, I might as well go all out with something major, to completely overshadow this wave of slander and redirect everyone's attention. Don't they love a good surprise? My specialty is the surprise twist. I raised my glass and clinked it against my own reflection in the hot pot restaurant's window, a toast to my past life, to that young life, cut short and gone without vengeance. 10. Not long after, the results of the postgraduate entrance exam were released. I successfully became my supervisor's graduate student. The matter of the anonymous forum post was quickly uncovered as well. The poster turned out to be Chen Jia. To manage the public fallout, the university, of course, did not make the investigation results public. There was no way to keep it a secret among the students. Gung Lu was famously the department's feisty firecracker. Not only did she give Chen Jia a thorough beating, but she chose to do it right under Sue's dormitory building. She pummeled Chen Jia until he howled in pain, all the while hurling insults at Sue. She was clever too, ranting and raving the whole time without ever mentioning Sue's name. Gung Li's roommate even took the opportunity to gift a large bucket of dried fruit each to the security guards and dorm supervisors who came to intervene. In the end, a crowd had gathered on every floor of the dorm building, with another circle forming down below. The dorm supervisor and security guards listened to the sordid tale of Chen Jia's emotional affair and how he was used as Sue's pawn. All while munching on the dried fruit, the whole ordeal lasted barely an hour. Sue never even showed her face. Chen Jia only begged Gung Lu not to break up, not blaming Sue in the slightest. Gung Lu had vented his anger and beaten up the scumbag. Finally, he said, "Chen Jia, we've been together since middle school, nearly a decade now, and you just go and cheat on me, just like that. Don't even start with that 'I never even held her hand' nonsense. An emotional affair is even worse than a physical one. Isn't that department's so-called flour famous for poaching from other people's plates? Well, I'm personally delivering these leftovers right to her door. Let's see if anyone still wants your sloppy seconds." Upon hearing this, Chinjia actually turned a hopeful gaze toward the floor where Suwei's dorm room was located. What a shame, the campus beauty was nowhere to be seen. Seeing this, Gunglu turned and left without a word. Her roommate followed right behind her. The dorm supervisor spat out a sunflower seed shell and delivered her verdict. "Who wants to eat leftover rice? It's all sour and stinky." The security guard chuckled and said, "No flour would ever be stuck in a bowl of leftovers." And that was the end of the rumor. Suyu and I are just kicking ourselves for not being there in person. Otherwise, we would have definitely given Chinjia a good kick, given what Chinjia did. Whether the department will even grant him a diploma is another matter entirely. Afterward, clearly having gotten nothing out of Suwei, he immediately turned around and started pestering Gunglu to get back together. 11. It was just a coincidence that day. Suyu and I happened upon this scene on our way back to the dorm after returning books to the library. Chinjia was crying, her eyes swollen and red like a goldfish's, practically on the verge of kneeling before Gunglu. "Lele, I was an idiot. I shouldn't have stood up for Suwei. I just wanted Zhou Nua to fail the exam. I thought maybe then Suwei wouldn't be so heartbroken. I swear it won't happen again. Everyone back home knows how long we've been together. If we break up, how are you going to explain it to your parents?" Gunglu stopped moving, his gaze utterly cold and detached. "Chinjia, there's no chance of us getting back together. Just because Su Shihua can't accept it and you feel sorry for her. You think it's okay to spread lies and slander an innocent person. Have you ever considered that one reckless post could ruin someone's future? You're the one with the moral failings and the wandering eye, not me. Because of this, my parents will only say that breaking up with you was absolutely the right call." Seeing that Chinjia was about to keep harassing us, Suyu and I stepped forward. She shielded Gunglu, while I went straight up and kicked Chinjia from behind. "What a filthy man. Get away from me." I, Chinjia Jin, stood there dumbfounded, rooted to the spot after taking that pointless kick. Suyu went straight for the garden hoe, cursing at him furiously. "Get lost. If you don't, I'll beat you until you do." Only then did Chinjia scramble to his feet and slink away in disgrace. Behind him, Gung Li's eyes also welled up with tears. He's not the Chinjia I used to know anymore. Gung Lu, Chinjia, and I were classmates. They both left their hometown for university together. Throughout their 4 years of college, whenever they argued or disagreed, it was always Chinjia who made the effort to appease Gung Lu. So many people loved to talk about them, that classic pair of bickering sweethearts. Now, the sweetness is gone, leaving only the bickering. Is Suwei some kind of master of love potions? Liamo is shameless. Chinjia has lost his mind too. 12. We found a quiet cafe. After calming himself down, Gung Lu opened an account on Zaya Hongshu on his phone. "Take a look. This is another persona that Su Shihua has crafted." Suyu and I took the phone and began to scroll through it carefully. It was the account of a fashion blogger on Zaya Hongshu with tens of thousands of followers. Beyond showcasing daily outfits in sexy and sweet hot styles, this account regularly flaunts designer handbags, haute couture, shoes, luxury cruises, exotic sports cars, and high society parties. Occasionally, a photo or two might be a selfie, but only a partial one, for instance, holding a large bouquet of roses to cover the lower half of the face, revealing only a pair of innocent, dreamy eyes. Yet, the reflection in the mirror hints at an alluring, sensual figure that sparks the imagination, or perhaps just a profile shot, showcasing a flawlessly applied and exquisite makeup look. These photos instantly gave away the blogger's identity. It was Suwei. Didn't she claim at school that she came from a highly educated family with strict upbringing, which made her aloof, reserved, and hard to fit in? This account clearly showcases the daily life of a rich heiress flaunting her wealth. Slowly, both Suyu and I started to sense that something was off. The timeline doesn't add up. For instance, the timestamp showing her watching the sunset on a cruise ship. Suwei was actually taking her graduate school entrance exam at that very moment. And another one from last year's high society afternoon tea. That was during the lockdown. How could she possibly have left campus? Suyu and I slowly looked up. Gung Lu sneered with a mocking smile. Su, the campus belle, spent all 4 years of university perfecting the art of packaging herself as an aloof, ethereal goddess, completely detached from the mundane world. And what's the result? She's been stealing and posting other people's lavish, rich girl lifestyles online with such gusto. She's clearly obsessed with worldly glamour and luxury, yet she still puts on this ridiculous act of being some pure, untouchable fairy. Just how many more surprises does this conniving little social climber have in store that I'm not aware of? what, naturally aloof and quiet personality, more like she's afraid of putting her foot in her mouth, so she just keeps her mouth shut, and this can't fit into the group act. She's probably terrified that interacting with genuinely well-off classmates will expose her fake persona and social standing. She's really committed to the act, isn't she? Kept it up for 4 whole years, just as Suyu and I were about to speak. Li Mo's indignant voice came from the booth next to ours in the cafe. Xiaowei, don't be afraid, if Qinjia dares to bother you again, I'll make sure he gets what's coming to him. 13. The 3 of us exchanged glances and, without a word, chose to remain silent. Xiaowei, if you have troubles, you can confide in me. Why on earth would you talk to Qinjia? That idiot misunderstood you, and now his stupid mistake is dragging you down with him. Xiaowei, I've done so much for you, why can't you choose to rely on me? Oh my god, I'm gonna be sick. What a bootlicker. Sui spoke in a pitiful, aggrieved tone. It was my fault that you and Zhou Nua broke up last time. How could I possibly come to you again? Poor Qinjia, he meant well, you know, he was just standing up for me after I vented to him. I know Zhou Nua has always seen me as her rival, and with your breakup, she's already been accepted into grad school, and I'm working at the hospital. Why would she escalate that anonymous post thing? Her rival, and who exactly are you? Thinking back on my 4 years of college, the number of proper face-to-face encounters I had with Sui could be counted on one hand, so you pressed down on my clenched fist, shaking her head at me in silence. Li Mo's cold and arrogant voice reached us once more. Xiaowei, you're just too kind. Zhou Nua clearly got in, so why is she playing the victim? She knows perfectly well how she got those scores. Is she not even going to allow others to question it? Qinjia's post didn't even name names. She's clearly feeling guilty, posting that on social media just to muddy the waters and cover up her cheating scandal. Gung Lu is downright vicious. She and Qinjia had a friendship of nearly 10 years, and just because of that idiot's unrequited crush, she had to make a scene right under your dorm, putting everyone in an awkward position. A woman with so little regard for others' feelings totally deserves to be dumped by Qinjia. Suyu and I quickly stood up, holding back the furious Gung Lu across from us, and shook our heads in unison. Sui continued her manipulative, White Lotus speech. It's all my fault. I underestimated the jealousy that can exist between people of the same sex. When 2 people are in love, shouldn't they trust each other unconditionally? I truly don't understand how Gung Lu could so easily abandon a relationship of nearly 10 years. Gung Li's fury burned from his eyes all the way to the top of his head. As for Zhou Nua, Sui's voice faltered for a moment. You shouldn't have pursued her just because of me. It's you who owes her. Li Mo, if you really want what's best for me, you should go and apologize to Zhou Nua. If you two get back together, maybe Zhou Nua will let this matter go. That outcome would be best for everyone. Both Suyu and I were trembling as we held Gung Li's hands down. We were shaking with rage. What? Do I look like a doormat to you? Why do I have to be Sui's imaginary rival on top of dealing with that insufferable jerk? Li Mo, of course, Li Mo over there refused, but then, for some reason, the noise from next door suddenly stopped. Moments later, the shameful sounds of a man panting and a woman moaning drifted through. Holy crap, what a pair of shameless jerks. The 3 of us were absolutely furious and were about to rush over and beat them up when Li Mo and Sui left the cafe, with their arms around each other. They crossed the street and entered a 4 Seasons hotel on the other side. 14. I'm going to kill myself, Gung Lu said abruptly, her face expressionless. Neither Suyu nor I reacted, we just stared at her, dumbstruck. Gung Lu said with chilling calm, it's not a real suicide, but I really can't let them get away with it. I've got a plan. Just answer me one thing. Are you in or out? We're in. Why not do it? I died an unjust death in my past life, and weren't they the indirect culprits? Killing someone by hitting them with a vehicle is a crime, but making them lose all face, that's not too much to ask, is it? 15. According to Gung Li's plan, first, she went to the 4 Seasons hotel, bribed the front desk with a few hundred yuan to get the room number where Li Mo and Sui were staying, and then booked a room right next to theirs. Then, she sent a message via WeChat to me and Suyu, saying she was going to kill herself. As Gung Li's close friends, we naturally tried to talk her out of taking her own life, but from the chat history, it was clear her suicidal intent was unwavering. We had no choice but to coax the hotel address out of her and immediately called the police. Before making that call, we of course informed her ex-boyfriend, Qinjia. As for why Qinjia, upon breaking down the door, found Li Mo and Sui in disheveled states, how the 3 of them ended up in a brawl, and were subsequently taken to the police station by officers who arrived to intervene, that was purely a coincidence, a false alarm. You've got to be kidding. During that period, Gung Lu was suffering from depression and had to rely on sleeping pills every night. That day at the hotel, she did swallow a small amount of sleeping pills. Afterwards, she was genuinely taken to the hospital to have her stomach pumped. Gung Lu was acting out of resentment, not because she was actually foolish. How could she possibly risk her own life as some kind of test? It's in a moment of crisis that a person's true nature is revealed. When Gung Lu finally came to in the hospital, he still asked us that question. When you saw I'd tried to kill myself, did Qinjia insist on coming to the hospital, or did she go to the police station with Su Wei? Neither Su Yu nor I said a word. The answer was already clear. That day, as Qinjia watched Gung Lu being carried into the ambulance, his eyes were filled with guilt, yet he didn't insist very strongly on coming to the hospital. Even later, after his counselor bailed him out and he returned to school, he still didn't dare to visit Gung Lu at the hospital. Gung Lu said, her voice weak and weary, I understand. A single tear traced from the corner of her eye, vanishing into her dark hair, lost from sight. Their 10 years together had truly vanished into thin air. 16. Qinjia and Liu Mo were involved in a mutual altercation, with Qinjia being the primary instigator. At the police station, Su Wei, the unattainable love he had always yearned for, looked at him with nothing but contempt and didn't speak a single word in his defense. Qinjia's delusional dream was shattered. There was absolutely no way he could get his diploma now. Su Wei had broken up 2 couples in a row, and after Gung Li's suicide, her reputation was completely ruined. She was now truly ostracized and isolated, with many malicious speculations and ugly rumors swirling around her. Her 2 roommates had left for internships. The remaining one didn't even say goodbye and simply moved out. I heard that when it came time for the graduation photos, Su Wei was considerate enough to ask the counselor for leave. Her reason was, I don't want to make too many classmates unhappy. The counselor didn't say anything about it. Graduation season is, after all, a time of farewells in life. Everyone has to leave the stage eventually. Who cares who was a step ahead or a step behind? On the day Su Wei left school, many people saw a luxury car arrive on campus to pick her and her luggage up. The driver was a gentle and refined middle-aged man. Passers-by assumed he was Su Wei's legendary professor father. A classmate greeted him, calling out, "Hello, Uncle Su." The middle-aged man's expression turned odd as he urged Su Wei to hurry up. Su Wei was moving 4 years' worth of university belongings by herself. How fast could she possibly go? The roommate who had moved out did come back, but when the 2 of them met, not a single word was exchanged. Su Wei got into the luxury car and left the lush, green university campus behind. The next moment, her roommate threw all of Su Wei's belongings into the dormitory trash bin in one go. Su Wei's account on Xiaohongshu was also banned. Word is, someone reported her. 17. The happiest person in all this turned out to be Liu Mo. I heard he got his wish and is now with Su Wei. However, he didn't even show up for the class graduation photo. Having already moved out early to rent a place and look for a job, he wants to secure a stable income as soon as possible to provide Su Wei with a comfortable and well-off life. Perhaps he was genuinely kept in the dark, or perhaps he simply enjoys the stability of a love triangle. Liu Mo and Su Wei have vanished from my life, fading into mere hearsay. I truly wanted to keep getting back at them, but when 2 people are shameless enough to abandon their reputation and social life, any further attacks become utterly pointless. I've never told a soul about my rebirth, because that hasty death was like a bad, fleeting joke. My life shouldn't be reduced to such a punchline. Since I've been given a second chance, I should stride toward a brighter future. It seems like Qinjia is the only one suffering the consequences of this whole mess. Actually, Qinjia did beg me and the department to put in a good word for him, or write a letter of understanding, things like that. But when I asked him, did Su Wei have any part in you doing this, he just hemmed and hawed, never giving me a straight answer. Looking at their chat history, Su Wei never explicitly instructed Qinjia to post those rumors. For a moment, I didn't know whether to praise Su Wei for her cunning or to curse Qinjia for being blinded by infatuation. Before the blame fell on Qinjia, he would only tell me it was all just a joke, but my excellence should never be a reason for others' jealousy or an excuse to plot against me. Since it's been proven he did it, what right does he have to feel wronged? Anyone who betrays true affection and lacks moral character deserves nothing but scorn. Serves them right. That summer, we went our separate ways, each chasing a brighter future of our own. 18. After I started my graduate program, my advisor would often take us out for meals. Every time, he would heap a huge portion of food onto my plate and declare with great ceremony, "We mustn't let our little Zhou go hungry." The only reason she chose me as her supervisor was for the promise of a good meal. Later, when I had junior fellow students, my supervisor would still say. Your senior said you get good food by following me. Don't you worry, even if there's no meat, there will at least be broth. Sigh, even after graduation, I was the butt of jokes for years. After finishing my master's, I landed an internship at a major tech company. My supervisor was Zhuang Si, a graduate from an Ivy League school who had just returned from abroad. She has a classically beautiful, serene face that embodies an Eastern ideal of grace, even when she comes to work with no makeup on. She stuns everyone in the office. I saw several photos in her WeChat that looked strangely familiar. They were the very same beautiful pictures that Suwei had stolen and used, especially the one where she's holding a huge bouquet of roses that covers the lower half of her face. Zhuang Si was beautiful in a poised and dignified way, while Suwei always seemed timid, like a startled fawn. I thought it was just a coincidence. On one occasion, we were chatting and the topic turned to my alma mater. Zhuang Si let out a soft sigh and mentioned that she had once sponsored a girl from a small town to attend that very university. It turned out that after graduation, instead of entering the workforce to better herself, that girl chose to get married early and return to family life. Everyone has their own path. My original intention in sponsoring her wasn't for her to get married and have children so young. I'm not saying that marriage and motherhood hold no value for her. It's just that I got the sense she was trying to use marriage as a way to escape societal competition, and clearly, that plan hasn't worked out. Just yesterday, my mom was on the phone with me and mentioned that the girl asked if she could get financial support from our family again. She wants to take the entrance exam for a part-time master's degree program. With that, he just smiled and let it go. 19. I forwarded what Zhuang Si mentioned to the group chat with Suyu and Gang Lu. After all these years, we've still kept in touch. Suyu went back to her hometown to take the civil service exam and is now a government employee. Gang Lu also returned home to take over the family business, turning his parents' small factory into a roaring success. Hearing me say that, they all started wondering if that small-town girl could be Suwei. Not long after graduation, Suwei did indeed marry Liamo. Their wedding back then was rushed and rather slapdash. Largely because Liamo's family wasn't well off, and Suwei's parents didn't seem willing to contribute much financially. Many people couldn't understand why Suwei, a campus belle from a highly educated family, would choose to marry down to Liamo. It's not that Liamo was a bad catch, but rather that Suwei could have aimed for someone better. Her options weren't limited to him. It didn't take Gang Lu long to find out about Liamo and Suwei's recent situation. They even unearthed some of Suwei's well-kept secrets from her university days. 20. Suwei's parents are both laid-off workers with only a middle school education. The whole highly educated family background was a persona she fabricated herself. After Gang Lu finished speaking, he proceeded to post a long string of chat logs in the group. This was the truth about Suwei that Gang Lu had managed to pry out of Qinjia. The reason Suwei received funding from Zhuang Si's family was simply because Zhuang Si's mother and Suwei's mother were distant relatives. One year, when the Zhuang family returned to their hometown for a visit, they saw Suwei. Despite her humble background, she had grown into an exceptionally beautiful young woman, and they decided to sponsor her. Later, after Suwei started university, the Zhuang family even took her in to live with them. Indeed, small kindnesses foster gratitude. But excessive generosity breeds resentment. Exposed to the opulence of the big city, Suwei's mindset gradually shifted. She began asking the banker for more and more money, her excuses growing ever more inventive. No matter how wealthy they are, they're not fools. When the Zhuang family suggested that Suwei take up a work-study program, she declined with a variety of excuses. From then on, the Zhuang family ceased all financial support beyond tuition and basic living expenses. During this time, the Zhuangs also discovered that Suwei had secretly appropriated items belonging to Zhuang Si, who was abroad, for her own use, and even went so far as to sell some of them. I recalled that time in the cafeteria when Liamo overturned a tray, splashing sauce onto Suwei's shawl. That item did indeed bear the classic pattern of a certain luxury brand, but who could have guessed that the finery Su Shihua was wearing was actually stolen? Upon discovering that his well-intentioned patronage had nurtured a thief in his own household, the head of the Zhuang family naturally threw Suwei out. As for why he didn't call the police, for one, the Zhuang family was wealthy and powerful, and such a minor loss was beneath their concern. Secondly, Suwei's parents were masters of playing the victim. Her father, dragging his work-injury-disabled body, went to plead for his daughter, tearfully claiming that if Suwei really went to prison, their whole family might as well be dead. After reading through the lengthy chat history, I couldn't help but let out a long sigh of relief. The reason Chen Jia knew so much was that after graduation, he too had once pursued Suwei relentlessly. Suwei never gave him the time of day. For this reason, Qinjia followed Su Wei all the way back to her hometown, slowly uncovering the secret of her fabricated persona. I asked, "Why would Qinjia tell you all this?" Gung Li sent a gloating cartoon rabbit emoji. Ever since graduation, without a diploma, he couldn't get into any decent company, and he was too proud to settle for a lousy one, so he never stuck with any job for long. Now he wants to get back together with me. He'd better answer any question I ask, or else. So you sent a virtual hug emoji, Gung Li said. We didn't just drift apart. Qinjia simply wasn't worthy of staying by my side. Gung Li has become much more composed and steady these days. She's changed, a far cry from the feisty, vibrant girl she was in college. I can't say for sure whether this change is for better or for worse, but I do hope Gung Li finds peace and happiness from now on. 21. At the year's end, the wedding of Zhuangxi. The venue was a discreet hotel in the city, one that rarely accepted external bookings. Yet, the hotel's history stretched back to the Republican era, and it typically catered only to the elite and influential. The Zhuang family truly embodied wealth without extravagance, and status without ostentation. Even among our colleagues, there were those from well-off backgrounds who were usually quite flamboyant, but after just a glance at a landscape painting decorating the inner hall and a few guests passing by, they fell silent. I truly felt an inexplicable, intangible sense of pressure. This must be what they mean by an aura of wealth that's almost overwhelming. Yet, from a corner of the hotel, I still caught the sound of a man's voice, familiar and brimming with arrogance. Aren't the Zhuangs your aunt's family? It's not like I'm asking you to steal or rob, just go cry and beg in front of them, kneel if you have to, play the pitiful card, even the crumbs that fall from their table would be enough to feed us for a year. It's actually Liamo and Su Wei. Su Wei was wearing a crumpled white dress, its cut and style were far from elegant, but it was probably the most presentable outfit she had at the moment. She was still young, but had lost that cool, graceful poise. She seemed utterly weathered by the harsh winds and bitter rain of life's mundane struggles. With tears welling in her eyes, she pushed Liamo away with great resistance. No, I won't, Liamo. I'm begging you. Please, just let me save a little face in front of the Zhuang family. Liamo, for his part, was dressed to the nines, looking slick and polished. He lowered his voice and began to coldly, cruelly, recount old grievances. Su Wei, what's with the holier-than-thou act now? Where was your precious dignity when you lied to me, claiming you came from some highbrow intellectual family, that your parents were professors and scholars? And what about all that talk of how your parents would be disappointed in you for life if you didn't get into grad school? Su Wei, you're a shameless bitch. Back then, you wanted that graduate spot. Realized you couldn't win it fair and square, so you sweet-talked me into trying to edge out Zhou Nua for you. When you saw I couldn't pull it off, you went and charmed Qinjia into spreading rumors about Zhou Nua instead. Did you really think you were the only clever one and the rest of us were fools? Do you think those men would have done any of that if they weren't trying to get into your pants? Su Wei, both furious and terrified, stammered. But I married you, didn't I? Liamo seemed to grow even angrier. Bah, he only tossed you aside when he got bored, and now you come crawling back to me. Wasn't that rich man your roommate's married uncle? You were supposed to tutor his daughter, not end up in her parents' bed. What right do you have to feel wronged? You were restless before the marriage and you're still fooling around after it. Let me make this clear, you owe me, and you'll spend your whole life paying it back. Now get over to the head of the Zhuang family. I don't care if you have to kowtow or grovel, you will beg for that agency deal. From the moment I heard the voice, I kept dodging into the crowds of guests. Liamo and Su Wei passed in front of me. Through the gaps between the figures, I caught a glimpse of dark bruises on Su Wei's arm. The guests before me were a young man and woman. They seemed to recognize Liamo and Su Wei and couldn't help but start whispering. The Zhuang family sponsored Cinderella is here to freeload again. Cinderella, please. The Zhuang family spends a fortune on charity every year. If we're counting good deeds, where does she even rank? Everyone in our circle knows her history. She used the Zhuang family's name to throw herself at wealthy men. Didn't matter their age. Before marriage, she was on her own. After, she dragged her husband along. Has Zhuangxi been abroad for so long that no one filled her in on Su Wei's reputation? Otherwise, why would the Zhuangs ever let her through the door? Who cares? If they cause a scene, it'll just make the wedding more entertaining. The Zhuang family clearly wasn't going to let them cause a scene. Before long, I saw from the window as Liamo and Su Wei were dragged out through the garden's side door by several hotel security guards. Su Wei stood in the wind, weeping pitifully, furious. Liamo slapped her across the face twice. The once-cherished moonlight, when it falls from its lofty perch, becomes nothing more than a shattered reflection in a murky ditch. 22. After I told the girls in the group chat what I saw at Zhuangxi's wedding, Suyu was the first to send a voice message. Suwei is nothing but a petty thief with no vision. When she wants something, her first instinct isn't to work for it, but to cheat her way to the top. Back then, she got into a top university and even managed to latch onto a prestigious family like the Zhuangs. Yet, from the very beginning, she had this nasty habit of stealing. She probably got away with it so many times that even after being caught, the thieving became second nature. She stole reputations, she stole personas, and in the end, she even stole a man. What a joke. Heaven really did hand her all the advantages for nothing. She had a winning hand and still managed to play it miserably. Geng Lu also let out a long sigh, all because of a petty thief. Qin Jia threw away his prestigious university diploma. No wonder he was so full of regret that he came begging at my house. I couldn't help but ask, your parents didn't go soft on him, did they? Geng Lu said with a chuckle, no way. My dad's new fitness regimen involves chasing that scumbag halfway across town. Hearing that, we all burst into laughter. We spammed the chat with countless laughing to tears emojis. Then, Geng Lu dropped the ultimate bombshell, a photo of her marriage certificate. Holy cow, Geng Lu, you held back the intel. With a move this strong, I fold, Geng Lu said gleefully, you all better be there on my big day. Geng Lu got married, and her husband was introduced by her family. The two families are well matched, and the newlyweds are very much in love. Many people remember her 10-year relationship with Qin Jia. But she seems to have made peace with it and moved on. Just because I fell for a scumbag, I'm supposed to waste away in heartbreak and die alone? That would just make his day, wouldn't it? Who says you get married to get over a broken heart? So if I don't get married, am I waiting for that jerk to award me a chastity archway? Stop asking. The answer is, I found true love, and I'm happy to walk down the aisle. Hey, that feisty little firecracker is finally back. 23. I heard about Liamo and Suwei again because of a notorious case of murder for insurance. In order to claim a huge insurance payout, Liamo put mango in Suwei's food. Suwei had only taken a small bite before she began struggling to breathe. Liamo watched helplessly as Suwei writhed on the floor, only calling for an ambulance after she had stopped breathing. When Suwei's parents learned their daughter had died from accidentally eating a mango, they refused to believe it was an accident. Liamo's attitude was disturbingly cold. He wanted to have Suwei cremated without even holding a funeral. So, Suwei's parents turned to the Zhuang family for help. The Zhuangs were left speechless and urged them to go to the police immediately. Fortunately, it was still in time. With the police involved, Suwei's body was re-examined, and Liamo's utterly clumsy criminal methods were exposed in an instant. Liamo committed intentional homicide, and prior to the crime, he had repeatedly subjected Suwei to domestic violence and abuse. Suwei's parents were simple folk, but they understood that with their daughter gone, their remaining years would be bleak and desolate. In court, they stated they not only wanted compensation, but they also wanted Liamo to pay with his life. When a reporter went to interview Liamo, he said something particularly telling. In my last life, I killed for her. In this one, she's cuckolded me more times than I can count. What's wrong with trading her life for money? She owes me. Oh, so he's back too. 24. This case has set off a firestorm in many of our alma mater's social media groups. Some say Liamo has lost his mind. Others lamented how tragically the former department beauty, Sue, met her end. One by one, people began to reminisce about her pure, moonbeam-like radiance. Suwei's former roommate clearly still couldn't swallow the bitter pill from all those years ago. She spilled everything. How Suwei had fabricated her persona, falsely claimed to come from an intellectual family, and had meddled in her own uncle's marriage. Public opinion was thrown into an uproar. It's like they had to throw a bucket of filth on her grave, even after she was gone, though, to be fair, that filth was well-deserved. Some tried to reason with her, saying, Suwei is already dead, why make such an ugly scene? The roommate was furious. The fact that I didn't expose the whole thing while she was still alive shows I was being more than considerate of our past. Look at the grief my family has given me all these years because of her. And just because she's dead, her reputation gets a free pass. Don't talk to me about debts being cleared with death. From now on every anniversary of her passing, I'm going to air it all out for everyone to see. The past truly can't withstand scrutiny. A casual look through the old grievances reveals that the names of Suwei's victims, directly or indirectly, could form their own Avengers team. As old grievances were dredged up, many people also recalled the time I almost had my chance to take the postgraduate entrance exam taken away. The detail about the mango in the cake was also brought up. It was as if the cream cake Liamo had thrown years ago had, after all this time, once again hit Suwei right in the face. So you asked for my take on it. At that moment, we were on our way to Gung Lee's hometown for a wedding. Gazing at the scenery whizzing past the high-speed train window, I chuckled softly. A surprise. Consider it a belated birthday gift from me. All these years later. The end. Story 2. The year the Oscar-winning actor went bankrupt, the Beijing socialite princess ordered his face to be ruined, but after he rebuilt his empire using my resources, he kept her as his pampered mistress, ruthlessly chaining her to his side. Vowing brutal revenge, he forbade her from straying beyond 3 meters. They ate, drank, and slept together. To strip her of freedom, he forced her to spend monthly 5 million checks down to the last penny, yet when Song Yao and I were kidnapped together, he saved her first, leaving me to plunge into the abyss where sharks tore me apart. So when I was reborn and saw Song Yao cornering Shin-Chi with her gang again, I pretended not to see them and walked away without hesitation. This lifetime, I'll make sure to witness the truth. Without that pretty face of yours, Shin-Chi, what exactly will you use to stage a comeback? 1. Award-winning actor Shin-Chi single-handedly made his family's resurgence the talk of the entire internet. The dual identity of a business prodigy and a fallen star catapulted him to A-list fame in his 7th year of obscurity. At this moment, facing the press corps, he remained composed and witty, his calm and distinguished demeanor radiating through his eyes and smile. A reporter asked him, "Shen, what's your biggest regret in life?" Shin-Chi narrowed his eyes slightly, their gleam revealing unfathomable emotions. "I lost a bouquet of my favorite jasmine flowers. I want to find her again." The screen froze on Shin-Chi's words. This marks the 7th year Shin-Chi and I have been together. I'd never seen him look so tender yet filled with regret. Pushing open the window, I gazed at the garden full of jasmine blossoms, my heart turning to ice. He knew perfectly well that roses were my favorite. Loving someone is like tending flowers. Song Yao was the blossom Shin-Chi cherished most, the woman who nearly scarred him for life. To exact revenge, he kept Song Yao captive, forcing her to share his bed and table. And all this, I only discovered it today. The entire garden of jasmine he planted with his own hands was all for Song Yao. Sun Yan, what does it matter that you built his business empire? I'm the one he truly loves. Song Yao let out a coquettish laugh, her eyes brimming with charm. Sun Yan, thank the heavens you saved him 7 years ago. He'd never have achieved this glory without you. This is ridiculous, forcing me to blow through 5 million daily like some spoiled brat. When the truth came out, it felt like a dagger plunging straight into my heart, bloodied and broken. The pain cut right to the bone. Memories of all my connections with Shin-Chi flashed through my mind. 2. Shin-Chi has long been the idol I deeply admire. In my past life, when I saw Song Yao trying to ruin his face, I immediately stepped in to save him. I couldn't bear to see him lose everything, not even that strikingly handsome face, so for Shin-Chi's sake, I willingly conceded profits to Song Yao. Our companies happened to have a recent collaboration. Song Yao only released Shin-Chi after securing her gains. After saving him, I initially saw him purely as an idol, yet he treated me with boyfriend-level tenderness and care. Shin-Chi would pick me up from work when I stayed late at the office. When I was sick with fever, Shin-Chi stayed by my side, taking care of everything with thoughtful attention. It wasn't until death that I finally understood. All he'd ever done was to make me fall completely for him. This way, he could effortlessly leverage all my resources to stage his comeback. During media interviews, his eyes brimmed with tenderness and his smile was understated. Shin-Chi vowed with absolute conviction, "I'll only marry Sun Yan in this lifetime. She's my one and only salvation." I helped him wholeheartedly and never doubted him for a second. I waited with all my heart for Shin-Chi to marry me after he made his mark in the world. But he said, "I can't marry you in good conscience until I've avenged this great wrong." So he had me work with him to bring down the Song family's company by any means necessary. Shin-Chi then kept Song Yao by his side, claiming it was for revenge. Yet his so-called revenge meant she couldn't stray beyond 3 meters. They ate, drank, and slept together. He vowed to strip her of freedom, yet handed her a monthly 5 million check she was forced to spend. I was lost in his tenderness from those early years, until the kidnapping laid bare the brutal truth. 3. Shin-Chi stepped on many toes to secure his position. The day I found Song Yao, Shin-Chi's enemies came for revenge. They actually kidnapped both me and Song Yao. Shin-Chi pursued them all the way to the island's edge, but he said between me and Song Yao, he could only save one. The sea wind howled, bitingly cold, bound yet unfazed. Song Yao smiled with childlike innocence. Guess who he'll choose? Every night he'd hold me tight, begging me not to leave. He should have saved me instead. Pity you're not the jasmine that made him wait 7 years. For 7 years, I helped Shin-Chi rise from the ashes and reclaim his glory. Between Song Yao and me, one's his savior, the other his nemesis. I was absolutely certain Shin-Chi would choose to save me. but the moment he cried out Song Yao, my heart shattered completely. So 7 years of devotion still couldn't make me his first choice. 7 whole years couldn't melt a single heart. When pushed off the island, Song Yao used the momentum to slam into me, sending me plummeting into the abyss where I met my watery grave. I cast one last glance at Shin-Chi. His pupils were dilated with horror, eyes bloodshot. He lunged toward me like a madman, desperate to grab me, but Song Yao blocked him with vicious determination. None of this matters anymore. The moment he gave up on me, my heart died. So Song Yao was always the pure white jasmine in his heart. How ridiculous, she's the jasmine blossom of his heart. But what am I? He seduced me, made me fall hopelessly in love, then exploited my devotion for his own gain. How tragic that only in death did I see his petty, scheming nature. As consciousness slipped away, my soul drowned in bitter regret. If there's a next life, I'll never repeat the same mistakes again. Even if Song Yao slashes Shin-Chi's face to ribbons, it's none of my business. 4. When I opened my eyes again, news of top actor Shin-Chi's family bankruptcy had spread throughout the entire school. He begged everyone for help, desperate to salvage even the slightest loss, even resorting to pleading with City A's most spoiled princess, Song Yao. The rumor was spreading like wildfire across campus. OMG, Shin-Chi just got dragged into the classroom by Song Yao. Even an untouchable god like the emperor of cinema can't escape the little princess clutches. The scene before me felt so painfully familiar it brought tears to my eyes. I'd actually been reborn, back to that fateful day 7 years ago when I saved Shin-Chi. Passing by the classroom, I hesitated and stopped. The door was left ajar. Song Yao intended to humiliate Shin-Chi publicly, without the slightest restraint. She coiled the whip in her hand and lashed out with a sharp crack. What does being a top-tier actor matter? You'll still grovel at my feet begging for mercy. Shin-Chi's striking features and chiseled jawline made him dazzlingly handsome. Beads of sweat rolled down his forehead, tracing the contours of his face. He knelt there, his body drenched in blood, racked with pain. Shin-Chi clenched his fists involuntarily, veins bulging across his knuckles. He doesn't deserve that face. Bring me hot water. I'll ruin his pretty features. The reason Song Yao despised Shin-Chi's face at this moment was its uncanny resemblance to her first love's profile. Given Shin-Chi's current condition, he wouldn't survive without intervention. That scalding cup of water Song Yao threw would mark the end of his acting career. 5. Shin-Chi suddenly looked up, his bloodshot eyes locking onto me. His eyes were breathtakingly beautiful, cool, elegant, and aristocratic. It was precisely those mesmerizing eyes that had enchanted me in the first place. Veins bulged on Shin-Chi's forehead as he strained to push himself off the ground, a pained grunt escaping his lips. Sun Yin, standing among the jeering students, I flashed him a faint smile. He'd better stop deluding himself that I'd save him. At Song Yao's command, her lackey immediately scrambled to fetch hot water. TigerBot prevents document piracy. Choose Tiger for bookfinding bots, reliable and hassle-free. He clenched his fists, swallowing his emotions in silence. The water dispenser stands at the hallway corner, beating the lackey to the punch before they could find a cup. I flipped on the dispenser's heating switch. What's the point of lukewarm water at 60 to 70 degrees, unless it's boiling at 100 degrees? How could it possibly match the agony of being torn apart by sharks in the ocean depths? Shin-Chi, in this lifetime, I'll make you watch as the woman you love most destroys that handsome face you're so proud of with her own hands. 6. When the scalding boiling water was handed to Song Yao, steam rose violently from the rim of the cup. Song Yao glared at Shin-Chi with disgust and flung the boiling water at his face. Don't blame me, blame that face of yours. Shin-Chi instinctively recoiled, dodging in the blink of an eye. Freeze, fuming, Song Yao shot a glare. Her 2 lackeys instantly cut off Shin-Chi's escape route. Now he's trapped. The remaining half glass of water traced a perfect arc through the air. Shin-Chi reacted swiftly, raising his arm to block, but only managed to shield half his face. The other half of his face and part of his neck instantly flushed red, erupting in large blisters. Shin-Chi's hands trembled violently, veins bulging painfully on their backs as sweat dripped down in beads. The agony was unbearable, yet his dignity as an award-winning actor forbade him from crying out in public. As if unsatisfied, Song Yao delivered another vicious kick to Shin-Chi's abdomen. Who said you could dodge? I'm here to ruin that entire pretty face of yours. The sight of it makes me sick. Shin-Chi's body went limp, his face half flushed with fever. He no longer had the strength to resist or struggle, his lips trembling, eyes glistening with unshed tears. Shin-Chi fixed me with a gaze brimming with desperate helplessness. Pity. I wouldn't show him an ounce of mercy. That's exactly what he deserves. Song Yao tilted her chin slightly, commanding her lackey, fetch another cup of water. If another cup of boiling water gets thrown, forget about his face being ruined, he'll be in too much pain to even walk out that door. Shin-Chi was acutely aware of this fact. In desperation, he clumsily grabbed at Song Yao's sleeve. Spare me, I can make you the hottest star. 7. Song Yao frowned in disgust and shook off Shin-Chi's hand. What do you mean? Shin-Chi's eyes flickered slightly as he spoke with utmost sincerity. I'm willing to share all my resources with you. Make you a top-tier actress. In exchange, you'll preserve this face of mine. Hearing this, I froze in shock. In his past life when Shin-Chi kept Song Yao by his side, he'd once mentioned her greatest wish was to go viral across the internet, but Song Yao's old-fashioned father refused to let her appear in the media spotlight, unwilling to invest resources in her career. Shin-Chi's words couldn't have been more perfectly timed. They hit exactly what she desired most. How does he know about Song Yao's secret now? Before I could think further, Song Yao actually seemed tempted. Alright then, how exactly are you going to help me? My agent booked me for a dating adventure reality show. Be my partner. I'll personally introduce you to the entertainment industry. Shin-Chi is a top-tier superstar and an award-winning actor who rose to fame at a young age. As long as he's got looks and fans, he's never truly down and out, as it happens. This dating show was actually produced by my family's entertainment company. With just a few words, Shin-Chi managed to soothe Song Yao. Great, I'll be waiting. After Song Yao left through the front door with her entourage, I, standing at the back door, turned to leave as well. But Shin-Chi suddenly strode over and grabbed my wrist. Sun Yen. Shin-Chi's eyes were bloodshot, burning with intensity. Nyen Nyen. How could you bear to watch my face get ruined? He stared at me intensely. All his usual aloofness gone. So, you're abandoning it. 8. His words made me sick to my stomach. I jerked my hand away instantly, locking eyes with him. Could it be? He's also been reborn. Shin-Chi didn't notice my probing gaze, seemingly lost in memories of my past devotion to him. He asked in a hoarse voice. Nyen Nyen, why didn't you save me just now? I raised an eyebrow and sneered. Why should I save you? It was Song Yao who ruined your face. What's that got to do with me? And yet you come here to confront me. Are you out of your mind? With that, I turned and walked away to conceal my rebirth, leaving a bewildered Shin-Chi behind. During my career planning phase afterward, I kept hearing updates about Shin-Chi and Song Yao. They filmed a dating show episode together, but the reception was disappointing. Song Yao's entitled princess attitude on the show sparked backlash from netizens. After finally reuniting with the Jasmine he'd lost for 7 years. I can't wait to see how overjoyed Shin-Chi must be now, so I took the initiative to attend the variety show in person. Every episode of Love Adventure is broadcast live, though there are scheduled breaks and live interviews during recording. That day, while passing by Song Yao's lounge to see what was happening, she was absolutely furious inside. You want me to ask my father for help, to hand you business resources and connections to revive the Shin family, Shin-Chi? Who the hell do you think you are? Through the window, I saw Shin-Chi lower his head helplessly, enduring Song Yao's humiliating taunts. In his later years of the previous life, the accomplished Shin-Chi domineeringly controlled Song Yao, but now, the tables have completely turned between them. Do you have any idea that ever since I entered the entertainment industry, Dad froze all my cards? I've lost every penny of my allowance. Shin-Chi, even Dad is mad at me. How am I supposed to help you? Shin-Chi's eyes burned with desperate hope as he pleaded earnestly. Song Yao, he's your father. Just put in a good word for me. Give me this chance, and I can make a comeback. Song Yao swung her arm and delivered a stinging slap across Shin-Chi's face. That slap packed a serious punch. The impact left half his face discolored, flushed with an angry crimson. But what puzzles me is, how could he appear completely unscarred on camera when half his face was supposedly burned before? After venting her anger, the mercurial Song Yao suddenly flashed him a grin. Fine then, Shin-Chi, play nice during the livestream, and that contract you're after, I've got ways to make it yours. With that, she turned on her heel and left. Song Yao stormed off too fast to witness the spectacular scene that followed. 9. The side of Shin-Chi's face that Song Yao had struck quickly became swollen, red, and festering, his humiliated eyes bloodshot. He kept grabbing tissues to wipe the blood from his face, but the more he wiped, the more the blood spread, and his skin deteriorated faster. Enraged, Shin-Chi completely lost it in the break room, kicking chairs wildly, as if he wanted to smash the whole place to pieces. The corner of my mouth twitched into a cold smirk. Nothing delights me more than watching Shin-Chi's pathetic breakdown. This is his true nature. Without me, he's nothing. Perhaps my gaze burned too intensely, for Shin-Chi noticed. He turned warily, crimson eyes narrowing with suspicion. Who's there? Our gazes locked in an instant. Shin-Chi staggered out desperately. as if spotting his salvation. Nian Nian, did you come here just to see me? I dodged the question, deliberately provoking him. Your face looks so strange. Shenqi froze, his head bowing slightly as he kept murmuring, I'll fix it, I'll make it perfect again soon. Just the way you like it. No wonder he maintains flawless skin on camera. Turns out he's been secretly getting cosmetic procedures all this time, but with disfigurement this severe, recovery would normally take years of gradual treatment. To bounce back to his original appearance overnight, he must be using some shady cutting-edge tech. Once Shenqi gets a taste of success, he'll become addicted, spiraling into the abyss of cosmetic procedures. You said you loved me, Nian Nian. I refuse to believe you're as shallow as those people who only care about my looks. Shenqi stared at me stubbornly, his eyes bloodshot, voice hoarse with emotion. Nian Nian, you're my only hope now. The loan sharks are practically hunting me down. You wouldn't want to see me driven into a corner, would you? In Shenqi's eyes, the 20-year-old me was just a starry-eyed girl blindly worshipping him. Too bad he was wrong. With a faint smile, I said mercilessly, you're begging the wrong person. Shenqi, with that face of yours, what makes you think you could please me? Forget Song Yao, even I find you repulsive. Shenqi's eyes darkened, the hope in his gaze vanishing instantly. He stood frozen as if struck by lightning, trembling from head to toe. I turned to leave when he suddenly called out to me, don't go, Sun Yan, I'll become the person you love. You once said I was the only celebrity you ever followed in the entertainment industry. I smirked mockingly and turned back to look at him. Are you even worthy? Anyone would be worthy, except Shenqi. After betraying my trust and throwing away 7 years of devotion, how dare he expect me to still love him? How revolting. 10. When filming resumed for season 2, Song Yao still refused to rein in her temper. Every dangerous challenge was forced upon Shenqi alone, with him bearing all the punishments, while she simply played the pampered princess. This sparked outrage among many netizens. In this duo game, Song Yao resorted to dirty tricks just to beat the rival couple. She rammed her car into them, sending the young actress crashing down with a tailbone injury that required immediate medical attention. This finally sparked public outrage. She injured someone without even apologizing, yet had the audacity to smile while accepting awards. Is this how Beijing's little princess behaves? What's Shenqi thinking? Bringing someone like that into the circle? Acting like a bootlicker catering to that spoiled princess every damn day. Is Shenqi even a man? Can't even muster a word in front of Song Yao. God, I can't stand watching those two. As a result, Song Yao's reputation took a serious hit before she even officially entered the scene. During the intermission, she lashed out furiously at the netizens' criticism, who told her to be so fragile. It's just a tailbone fracture. Not like she's dying. What's the big deal? Shenqi, don't you agree? Shenqi stood silently to the side and gave a wordless nod. Song Yao smiled in satisfaction before turning to direct the crew. Since she's gone to the hospital, just hand all the footage over to me. I want every shot with perfect lighting. I'm going to make everyone adore me. Her words left the entire room in stunned silence. When the director remained silent, Song Yao shot him a contemptuous glare. Anyone who dares oppose me can forget about working in this industry ever again, Miss Song. This isn't something I can decide. You'd better talk to Sun Yan about it. Song Yao turned her head, her gaze settling on me. She issued a direct command. Add highlights for me. 11. I don't agree with Song Yao's statement at all. This is live broadcast. If we give you all the screen time, sharp-eyed netizens will see right through it. Hearing this, Song Yao let out a cold snort and said impatiently, so what? We'll just hire some internet trolls when the time comes, if you dare refuse. I'll make sure my father cuts all business ties with your family. From now on, don't you dare come crawling to my family for favors. My father's word is law in Beijing's elite circles. Neither you nor your pathetic father can afford to cross him. Humph. Little does Song Yao know her days as Beijing's golden girl are numbered. Ever since my rebirth, I've been racking my brains using memories from my past life to devise countless strategies. The first step: helping my father forge alliances to take down the Song family. I was initially against adding highlight scenes, but since Song Yao insisted, skipping her spotlight moments would make me the worst kind of ingrate. Got it, let me highlight that for you. Song Yao flashed a satisfied smile. I chuckled and said, on one condition, you follow my lead. There's a waterside romantic duo scene. Yuan, eager to flaunt her figure on camera. Song Yao nodded without hesitation. Yet the normally reticent Shenqi seemed suddenly provoked. He jerked his head up, voice trembling with emotion. I object. I deliberately sighed. Well, that settles it then. Song Yao wouldn't let Shenqi ruin the opportunity she'd fought so hard to secure. Shenqi, who gave you the right to object? Sun Yan, We'll proceed as you suggested, Shin-Chi has no say in this, with a satisfied smile. I told the director to start filming immediately. The romantic aquatic photo shoot for two was mainly shot by the heated pool at a private spa club. Song Yao slipped into a sexy swimsuit, flaunting her youthful figure before the camera. With a graceful dive, she plunged straight into the pool. Shin-Chi, however, remained stubbornly planted at the pool's edge, refusing to get in. His face turned deathly pale, fists clenched tight. After swimming a lap, Song Yao noticed Shin-Chi still hadn't entered the water. She immediately furrowed her brows and demanded, "Shin-Chi, why aren't you in the water?" He wiped the sweat from his brow with his fingertips and made an excuse. "I've caught a cold and don't feel well. Maybe I'll skip swimming today." Song Yao nodded with slight disappointment. "Alright then." Before Shin-Chi could catch his breath, Song Yao yanked him straight into the water. Caught completely off guard, Shin-Chi landed with a loud splash. His tall frame crashed into the water, sending waves splashing everywhere. This sent Song Yao into fits of laughter. "Ha ha ha, Shin-Chi, don't tell me you're afraid of water." Standing before the camera, I couldn't help curling the corners of my lips. The show begins. 12. Shin-Chi hasn't lifted his head since entering the water. He held his breath underwater, his entire body gradually sinking. Song Yao frowned, her face full of confusion. "Shin-Chi, what kind of game are you playing?" Paying no heed to Shin-Chi's condition, she kept swimming, so he held his breath underwater for another minute. Shin-Chi kept his head buried in the water like an ostrich, arms wrapped around himself. Song Yao was growing impatient. "Shin-Chi, what exactly are you trying to pull?" Even with cameras rolling, Song Yao still held back a bit. Yet viewers in the livestream started getting suspicious. Shin-Chi knows how to swim. Why is he holding his breath underwater this whole time? Shin-Chi's been holding his breath for 3 minutes now. He's about to reach his limit. Is the production team just gonna ignore this? If Song Yao hadn't dragged him into the water, this wouldn't have happened, right? Shin-Chi was clearly struggling, bubbles gurgling to the surface as he flailed in the water. Even the director panicked. Fearing this might turn fatal, I immediately grabbed the director's arm and warned him, "Hold on, zoom in the shot." For minutes had passed, I knew Shin-Chi had reached his limit. Only then did Song Yao realize things had spiraled out of control. She desperately tried to drag Shin-Chi out of the water. Holding his breath for too long left Shin-Chi completely drained, without even the strength to struggle. As Song Yao hauled him out of the water, his face surfaced moments later. The director stood dumbfounded while I swiftly zoomed in, capturing an extreme close-up of him. The livestream exploded. The entire internet is in shock. Shin-Chi's pallid, festering skin and crimson burns were fully exposed on camera without any foundation to conceal them. Traces of cosmetic repairs still lingered on his face, but this face had been ruined by the rushed high-tech restoration. "Ah!" Song Yao let out a piercing scream, her face twisted in shock as she shoved Shin-Chi away violently. Song Yao scrambled ashore, her fingers trembling uncontrollably. "You freak, I'd never partner with someone like you." Shin-Chi's back slammed against the cold wall as Song Yao's piercing scream jolted him into instant awareness. Realizing the camera was shoved right in his face, his momentary clarity dissolved into sheer panic. He frantically covered his face with trembling hands. "Stop filming. Who authorized this?" The transformation of Shin-Chi's face was witnessed by the entire internet. His once prided handsome face was utterly ruined by his own doing, then exposed by his beloved Jasmine herself. News of Shin-Chi's disfigured appearance skyrocketed to trending topics. Overnight, A-list actor Shin-Chi was toppled from his godlike pedestal. 13. The entire internet is buzzing about Shin-Chi. Hashtag Shin-Chi disfigured. Hashtag Shin-Chi career over. Hashtag. Netizens are divided in their opinions about Shin-Chi's situation. Now it's Shin-Chi who should feel insecure. Huh. No wonder he's fawning over Song Yao like that, trying to become Beijing's golden boy through marriage. How hideous. Shin-Chi's face clearly shows artificial enhancements. What's there to be insecure about when you already had a perfectly handsome face? Song Yao ran for the hills ages ago. As if a Beijing socialite would ever date an ugly guy. Keep dreaming. Netizens got it right. Song Yao has already refused to be paired with Shin-Chi as an on-screen couple. Overnight, Shin-Chi's career took a nosedive. All his contracted brands issued termination notices. Even his upcoming dramas replaced him as the lead actor. Shin-Chi's current appearance makes public appearances problematic. The dual blow to his career and mental health left Shin-Chi completely devastated. I saw him again a week later. The heavy snow fell all night long. The moment I pushed open the door, I saw Shin-Chi. Shin-Chi had been standing in the snow all night. The noble bearing of his past life has long faded, stripped of that aloof elegance. He's now indistinguishable from any common man. Nyan Nyan. Snowflakes clung to his lashes as white frost crowned his head. Nyan Nyan, I've lost my home and have no one to rely on, all because of Song Yao's doing. With tears glistening in his eyes, Shen-Chi pleaded urgently, I know you have a kind heart. For the sake of the affection you once held for me, could you take me in? As he spoke, scalding tears rolled down his cheeks, and he hung his head in utter dejection. The truth is, I've always cared for you deeply. I just realized my feelings too late. I thought heaven had taken pity on me, granting me this second chance. Who knew you'd avoid me like the plague? Nyan Nyan, take me in, you're all I have left. I curled my lips, watching his crocodile tears in silence. He played the devoted lover so convincingly. He almost believed it himself. What a waste of acting talent. I was utterly disgusted. Uncle Lee, throw him out. Don't let such trash in again. I won't have him freezing to death at my doorstep and bringing bad luck. Shen-Chi panicked instantly. In desperation, he dropped to his knees before me. Nyan Nyan, if you won't believe me, I'll stay kneeling here until you do. 14. He thinks putting on this lovelorn act and playing the desperate husband will win my sympathy. Let him kneel there if he wants. I'd love to see how long he can last. Shen-Chi knelt motionless at my doorstep as the blizzard raged outside, the bitter cold piercing to the bone. Frozen into a statue-like stillness, he eventually trudged away in silence. I never saw Shen-Chi again after that day. Every time I walked to school, I could feel phantom footsteps shadowing me. Every time I turned around, there was never anyone behind me. That day, I glanced at the calendar and suddenly remembered something. I stepped into a quiet spot and immediately called my father. Dad, stay safe overseas and make sure to get regular checkups. In his past life, my father worked relentlessly, often neglecting meals and rest, which eventually led to him developing stomach cancer. The memory of my emaciated father lying on that hospital bed still brings a dull ache to my heart. Dad, don't brush off what I'm saying. Get regular checkups and eat properly. You hear me? Before I could finish, someone snatched my phone and abruptly ended the call. My head jerked up. Locking eyes with Shen-Chi's furious gaze barely contained beneath the surface. Sun Yen, you've been lying to me all along. Shen-Chi's expression darkened abruptly, his lips pressed thin as his voice turned hoarse. Did you also get reborn? His bloodshot eyes remained fixed on me, glinting with an unsettling obsession. No wonder I've been feeling like someone's been shadowing me lately. Shen-Chi, so what if I've been reborn? In our past life you chose Song Yao. And now that she's no use to you, you come crawling back to me. I gave him a once-over and smirked coldly. Who do you think you're fooling? You might not find it disgusting, but it's making me sick. Shen-Chi pleaded urgently. Nyan Nyan, I know you blame me, but you're seeing me as some villain. I genuinely want to make it up to you. Every word is true. I stared at him with icy contempt. You think I'd believe that? After surviving life and death, 7 years of wholehearted devotion, I no longer harbor any feelings for Shen-Chi. Not even hatred is worth wasting on him. Shen-Chi's gaunt figure swayed slightly, his pupils trembling as he murmured, I'll make you believe me. I know you've always blamed me for not choosing to save you back then. I thought they wouldn't dare push you over. That's why I chose Song Yao instead. To him, my life truly didn't matter. After all, he was willing to stake his bets on me without a second thought for the risks. Besides, it was Song Yao who violently shoved me down in the first place. I couldn't be bothered to waste more words on Shen-Chi and simply walked out of school. From that day onward, Shen-Chi seemed to have an epiphany and stopped pestering me. My daily commute to school and participation in various competitions kept me thoroughly engaged. That day when I left school, my driver got stuck in traffic and hadn't arrived yet. I had just hung up the phone. A large hand suddenly covered my mouth and nose from behind. A suffocating sensation hit me, and I instinctively reached for the dagger hidden at my waist. Then, a familiar voice rang out. Be gentle. Just knock her out. It's Shen-Chi. I slowly sheathed the dagger and feigned unconsciousness, collapsing to the ground in sync with him. Shen-Chi, since you find life too bitter, then let me personally send you off. 15. After being tied up, I was shoved into a car and taken all the way to the island's edge. This familiar scene, it's where I died last time. But they didn't just kidnap me. Song Yao's here too. When Song Yao came to, panic washed over her face, bound at the wrists and ankles. The duct tape over her mouth had been torn away. Who the hell are you? Name your price. My father will pay whatever you demand. Just don't hurt me. Feigning regained consciousness, my gaze locked onto Shen-Chi rushing to the rescue with frantic urgency. What a meticulously staged performance. The kidnapper forced Shen-Chi to choose between me and Song Yao. You can only save one of them. Song Yao's expression changed dramatically upon hearing this. Seeing Shen-Chi, It was as if she'd spotted her savior. Shin-Chi, help me, quick. Her eyes were wide with panic as she spoke in a trembling voice. Shin-Chi, if you save me now, I swear I'll get my father to give you the resources to make your comeback. Shin-Chi took 2 steps forward, ignoring Song Yao's desperate screams, his gaze fixed solely on me. Nian Nian, let me save you this time, okay? I curled my lips into a mocking smile. Truly worthy of a top-tier actor, his performance was flawless. Shin-Chi's eyes brimmed with tenderness, his voice laced with faint regret. Sun Yan, after your death, I realized my mistake. I never should have chosen Song Yao. Ever since you died, my soul left with you. I've been living a living hell each day. Now that fate's giving me a second chance, I won't lose you again. I deliberately provoked him, countering, isn't Song Yao your true love, the one you called the only pure jasmine in your heart? 16. Shin-Chi's eyes turned murderous in an instant, burning with unmistakable hatred. No, how could I ever fall for the woman who disfigured me? If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have ended up like this. She dragged me down, promising resources, yet I groveled at her feet like a dog, and she never once looked at me with respect. Shin-Chi's gaze at Song Yao burned with murderous intensity. With a wry smile, I reminded him helplessly, how can you prove what you're saying is true? Why should I believe you? Empty words mean nothing, don't you think? A dog-eat-dog world is the most entertaining spectacle. I'll turn Shin-Chi into a blade consumed by hatred, one that'll pierce the heart of the woman he loves most. Hearing this, Song Yao was the first to sense something amiss, her face filled with terror as she suddenly turned her frightened gaze toward me. Sun Yan, we've never had any grudge between us, why are you deliberately sowing discord? Never had any grudge. Shin-Chi was right about one thing, in my past life, with my family's power and influence, those kidnappers wouldn't have dared throw me overboard. At the critical moment, it was Song Yao, freshly untied, who shoved me straight into the abyss. If this doesn't count as a blood feud, then what does? Lowering my lashes to veil the hatred in my eyes, I smiled faintly. Song Yao, I didn't say anything. It's Shin-Chi who needs to make the choice, not me. Shin-Chi advanced step by step towards Song Yao. Each step he took filled Song Yao with dread. Her face turned deathly pale, her voice growing increasingly shrill. Shin-Chi, if you actually believe her, you're falling right into her trap. I'll give you all the resources you need. I'll help restore your face. I apologize for everything I've done. Shin-Chi's expression remained unchanged, his bloodshot eyes burning with pure hatred. You did this to me. Once I deal with you, Nian Nian will forgive me. We can go back to how things were. Stop pretending. None of this was ever about me, Shin-Chi. Their roles were reversed in this life. Consumed by hatred for Song Yao, he used my name both to soothe his conscience and beg for my forgiveness. Driven to desperation by Song Yao's shrieking, Shin-Chi snapped. He grabbed a dagger and pointed it straight at her. Song Yao's eyes widened in terror. At the critical moment of life and death, she recklessly charged into Shin-Chi. Caught completely off guard, he dropped the dagger with a metallic clang. Seizing the opportunity, Song Yao snatched the dagger, cut the ropes, and pointed it at Shin-Chi. Shin-Chi, have you lost your mind? Shin-Chi let out a bitter laugh, his eyes filled with desolation. I've gone mad, and it's all your fault. With that, Shin-Chi moved to shove Song Yao into the sea. After all, the depths would swallow all evidence, but Song Yao was ruthless too. As she was pushed over, she thrust the dagger at Shin-Chi with all her might. Shin-Chi, I swear I'll make you pay for this. 17. Scorching crimson blood streamed down the back of Shin-Chi's hand. Shin-Chi doubled over in pain, beads of sweat dripping from his forehead. Dead men tell no tales. Song Yao's body plummeted from the island. In my past life, Shin-Chi abandoned me knowing full well I couldn't swim, but this time, the Song Yao thrown overboard knew how to swim. She was swimming desperately in the sea. Well, good luck to her then. I thought today's spectacular drama would end right there. To my surprise, Shin-Chi walked straight toward me. He reached out to grab my hand, but I dodged it effortlessly. Shin-Chi, you don't actually think I'd forgive you just like that, do you? I let out a cold chuckle, my gaze piercing through him. I'll never forgive someone like you. You killed Song Yao. You killed my past self. Your hands are drenched in blood. Your very blood is filthy. You're absolutely disgusting. You know that. Shin-Chi's expression darkened instantly, his eyes flashing with intense fury. So you've been lying to me all along, is that it? I responded with silent laughter, which served as my tacit admission. What a pity he came to his senses too late. Shin-Chi let out a near-maniacal laugh, gritting through the pain in his abdomen. I told you, dead men tell no tales. His obstinate gaze fixed on me, the smile twisting into something sinister and unhinged. Sun Yan, let's die together, end all this. Shall we? Maybe we'll get another chance at rebirth. With that, he lunged at me with all his strength, He was trying to drag me down into the abyss with him. What a damn nightmare. 18. I'd already untied the hemp rope, pulling out the stun gun I'd kept ready at my waist, cranking it to maximum voltage. I swung it at him with all my strength. 7 brutal strikes, one for each wasted year of my past life. Shin-Chi's furious expression instantly crumbled into trembling weakness. He writhed in agony on the ground, crimson eyes burning into me. Shin-Chi, did you really think I'd be as defenseless as in our past life? I'd been untied since the moment you started this charade. Sun-Yen, thank the heavens you saved him 7 years ago. He'd never have achieved this glory without you. Shin-Chi, during my disappearance, my family's driver has already called the police. Shin-Chi personally pushed someone into the sea, witnessed by the kidnappers and seen by me. There's no way he can escape. Shin-Chi helplessly cupped his face in his hands, tears streaming through his fingers. Sun-Yen, I thought you'd forgive me. Save your arrogance for the police. By the time the police arrived, Shin-Chi was too exhausted to resist. Even as the officers dragged him away, his gaze remained fixed on me. Sun-Yen, how could you be so cruel to me? You're truly heartless. Humph. Let him pour out all his bitterness to the police. After Song Yao fell into the deep sea, the police launched an extensive search and rescue operation. She was found on the shore during the search and rescue operation. She knows how to swim, most likely made it to shore on her own. However, she suffered severe head trauma and is still in critical condition. I've secured postgraduate admission without exams, and my father wants me to take over the family business first, using the business tactics I mastered in those 7 years of my past life. I systematically dismantled Song Yao's family enterprise. I won't lay a finger on her myself, but I'll make sure she starves to death. I want to watch Song Yao become an ordinary person, her arrogant demeanor worn down by life's hardships. Pity she'll never open her eyes to see her world again. Song Yao suffered severe head trauma, and the delayed rescue efforts resulted in missed critical treatment time. She's now in a vegetative state. Shin-Chi was convicted of premeditated murder and sentenced to prison, where he'll spend the rest of his days in perpetual darkness. As for me, I've gained not just a new life, but fresh perspectives and understanding. In this life, I just want to live well and ensure the safety and happiness of those I love. Shin-Chi's mistake doesn't represent everyone. He got the punishment he deserved. And I'll keep moving forward toward a bright future. The end. Story 2. The foster husband was very cold. And he never said I love you to me in 10 years of marriage. Before I died, I found the letter he had prepared for a long time, but the name on it wasn't mine. It turned out he was just cold towards me. The first thing I did after reincarnating was to cancel the engagement and encourage him to deliver the letter. He turned red with anger and for the first time yelled at me, Li Wan, who asked you to meddle? 1. An hour before the elevator accident, I was cleaning the attic and found a yellowed love letter, the familiar handwriting, the familiar signature. The name at the beginning, however, wasn't mine. This was a love letter that Lin he wrote to another girl. The moment the elevator fell, I was still thinking. I hadn't yet found out who the girl he liked was, what she looked like, or whether she was much better than me. 2. When I woke up again, the sun outside was very bright, my head was dizzy. And my best friend Shin Pan was holding my hand and sighing, "You finally woke up, you scared me to death. It's lucky that someone nearby reacted quickly and carried you to the infirmary." The girl in front of me, wearing a high school uniform and with a face full of collagen, made me momentarily unable to react. Shin Pan from 17 years ago. The warm feeling on my hand told me that this was not a dream. I really have been reborn. A figure ran in from the door, flashing through the light and appearing in front of me. "Are you okay, Lin?" He looked at me calmly, holding bread and milk. A familiar memory was suddenly recalled. Yes, that day I overslept and didn't have breakfast, and I fainted during the break time due to low blood sugar. Lin he handed me the food and watched me eat it. That morning, Lin he's class had a physics quiz, but he skipped class for me and later got scolded by the head teacher. At 17, I was still caught up in the pink bubble of his concern for me, but now, at 32, I clearly knew that Lin he was just following his father's promise to take good care of me. Lin he's father and my father were comrades in arms. Later, Lin he's father sacrificed his life, and his mother took the compensation money and ran away. My father took Lin he in to raise him because he felt sorry for him, because he was living under someone else's roof. He always obeyed my father's words and never dared to defy him. From that day on, Lin he became my little shadow. Everyone behind our backs secretly teased us, saying that I had an obedient child bride. Later, my father found out about my little thoughts and teased Lin he to be our son-in-law, but he didn't say a word. At that time, I thought he was introverted and shy, but now I think I was really foolish. 3. During class, I was distracted, constantly replaying my past life. I don't want to trouble Lin He anymore. Maybe if I don't marry him, he will be happier, and I won't die afterwards. After class, the teacher made us stay 10 minutes longer, and after class, the students rushed out in a flock. I was packing my things when I saw Lin He had been waiting for me at the door for a long time, looking down at the set of wrong questions in his hands. The light illuminated him, making him look even more lonely and cold. We walked out of the teaching building in silence. Lin He has always been like this, cold and indifferent, as if he doesn't care about anything. I looked at his back and suddenly stopped in my tracks. Lin He, you can go back first. You don't need to walk with me anymore. You don't need to wait for me in the future. Why, there's no reason. You are free, Lin He. I walked towards the back street of the school, intending to buy a few workbooks to improve my poor math skills. The person behind me caught up with me and coldly asked, "What's wrong with you again? Is it because I was late in the morning, or did you not like the milk I bought?" There was only that flavor left in the supermarket. The moonlight shone on him, cold and lonely. His gaze seemed to say, "What's your little game this time?" I tried to explain, "It's really not like that. The college entrance exam is coming up, and everyone's time is precious. You don't need to waste it on me. I need to work hard as well." Lin He stood in place, probably for the first time hearing me say such words. I used to really like clinging to Lin He. I didn't get into Beijing University, but he did. However, he finally chose to stay in our city with me because of a word from my father. I used to naively think he liked me, just that he didn't say it out loud. He must be regretful. After all, that was his ideal university. For Lin He didn't come after me anymore. I went into the bookstore and picked out a few practice books that suited me, and also took a composition book. When I went to pay, I realized that the money in my pocket was gone. I was puzzled and walked through the bookstore again, but couldn't find it. I didn't know whether it was stolen or just accidentally dropped. I sighed and was about to come back tomorrow to buy it, when I turned around and bumped into someone. "Oh my God," the person exclaimed, and his comic book fell. He hurriedly tried to protect the grilled skewers in his bowl. "I'm sorry, why is it you again?" A familiar lazy tone. I looked closely, and it was Song-Soo, a close friend from university. How come I met him now? It's quite a coincidence. "Classmate, I took you to the infirmary this morning when you fainted. Are you okay now?" Oh, I'm fine, thank you." It didn't occur to me until later that I had such a coincidence with him. I don't know what kind of past life I had. Song-Soo picked up the comic book. Seeing me hesitating in place, he took the book I was holding and paid for it together. "I saw you walking around the store just now, like you were looking for something. Did you lose your money?" I quickly nodded. This guy really is the one who will study criminal investigation in the future. He noticed so carefully. I said I would return the money to him tomorrow, and Song-Soo waved his hand. "Just treat me to dinner tomorrow." We walked out of the back street, and the night street had fewer people, only a few students passing by. Song-Soo looked at the delinquent youths huddled together smoking ahead, and turned to say he would send me home. He went to the garage to get a black motorcycle. The motorcycle followed him, showing off its power and coolness. 5. He dropped me off at the foot of my building, and the roar of the motorcycle finally disappeared. I was afraid of being scolded from the building above, so I hurriedly told Song-Soo to leave quietly. Song-Soo laughed. "You can't be quiet, my dear is so amazing." It sounded weird. Was about to say goodbye to him, but he suddenly raised his eyebrows and lowered his voice. "Did you know that person? He seems to have been looking at you." I turned around and saw Lin He slowly walking from the entrance of the residential area. Strange, he was supposed to go back first. Why is he slower than me? "Yes, I know him." Song-Soo felt relieved, waved his hand, and left with a casual roar. Lin He went up the stairs with me, and there was an inexplicable sense of pressure in the silence. The elevator door closed, and he suddenly spoke. "Is this the direction you're striving for?" "No, it's just a coincidence. That's really convenient." His tone was calm, as if he didn't care much. I didn't continue explaining. When he got home, Lin He would finish his homework and then take a shower. While he was walking into the bathroom, I quietly sneaked into his room and found the love letter. He always hides things in the same place, under the pile of books. It was easy to find. I opened the letter, but I couldn't figure out who Lee's classmate was. Could he be a classmate in his class? Considering his cold and indifferent attitude, he probably wouldn't be able to get close to anyone. Maybe I should help him a little. 6. The next day, I went to school with dark circles under my eyes. After checking all night, there were no girls with the surname Lee in Lin He's class except 2 boys with the surname Lee. Math class was once again confusing. Even if I were reborn, I would still not be able to solve the problems I couldn't solve before. It seems that the gap between me and Lin He is destined to be irreparable. At noon, I was about to invite Song-Soo to lunch, but Lin He was waiting at the door again, holding my favorite dessert. I told you not to wait for me anymore, right? You should do what you need to do. Oh, thank you, no need to buy for me anymore. Lin He looked puzzled and sighed slightly. Li Wan, what did I do to offend you? You've been avoiding me lately. It's not your problem, it's my problem. I just figured some things out. I walked towards the cafeteria, then remembered something and turned back to say seriously, by the way, my father was just joking when he said for you to be his son-in-law. You don't have to take it seriously, and you don't need to listen to him too much. Lin He, good luck with your college entrance exam. Go to your ideal university. Lin He frowned, as if confused about why I said these things. I arrived at the cafeteria, and Song Su was already waiting for me at a seat. What's this? Song Su glanced at the bag in my hand. Eclairs. Here, have one. Thanks for helping me yesterday. Hey, no need to be polite. Song Su waved his hand, but then smelled the fragrance of the dessert and couldn't resist eating one. One makes two. He ate a few, and there were some crumbs on his mouth. I was about to remind him when a cold voice suddenly came out. No wonder you wanted to get rid of me. Are you two dating? Song Su was startled and almost choked. I turned back and met Lin He's cold gaze, feeling as if I had been caught in an affair. No, I'm not his wife anymore. Song Su noticed the awkwardness between us and excused himself to get the food. No, I just met him. We're just classmates. I was telling the truth. But Lin He impatiently interrupted me. Don't explain to me. On Friday after school, Chen Pan wanted to try the new product at the dessert shop across from the school, and pulled me to go with her. He said it coldly, turned around indifferently, and seemed a little angry. Song Su came back and asked me quietly who that person was, looking at his gossipy eyes. I thought he thought I and Lin He were a couple. I briefly explained our situation, and Song Su smiled knowingly. Oh, childhood sweethearts. He seems to care about you a lot. Not at all. Lin He couldn't wait to get rid of me. On Friday after school, Chen Pan was going to try the new products at the dessert shop across from the school and pulled me along. This dessert shop has been open for a long time, and it has always been very busy. Lin He bought me the egg tart here. Chen Pan ordered 2 mango mousse. While waiting, I heard the staff say that there was a shortage of lemons and they were discussing it with the owner, Mr. Li. I caught a glimpse of a girl in a school uniform walking towards the back area of the shop. Is she the daughter of Mr. Li? She's surnamed Li. Her name is Li Qian. I have seen her on the list of the English composition competition before. Her grades are very good, and she has always been in the top 50, yes. She has participated in many competitions, and she is very academic. She has some connection with Lin He. No wonder Lin He often buys me desserts, because every time I come here, I can see him looking at the person he wants to see. After each purchase, he always looks very happy. I thought he was because of me. A swollen, bitter feeling arose in my heart, which I forced down. To confirm that the love letter was from Li Qian, I approached her when she came out. Hello, Li, I'm a friend of Lin He's. He forgot something. Ah, did he? Li Qian didn't have such a high level of vigilance. She checked her backpack and said in confusion, he only explained 2 problems to me, then lent me his math notebook. He probably didn't leave anything behind. They definitely knew each other. I looked at the familiar orange-covered notebook. This was one I had bought for Lin He. I used to ask him math questions, but he wasn't very patient. I was too embarrassed to say I didn't understand. So I stopped asking later. Maybe I got it wrong. I'll tell him later. I left with Chen Pan, who excitedly handed me a mango mousse, but I had no appetite. When I was feeling down, everything tasted bitter. Why aren't you eating? Isn't it delicious? Chen Pan pushed me. Hey, what did you say to Li Qian just now? Nothing. How do you know her name is Li Qian? Chen Pan looked around and lowered her voice. Because my friend said she was the adopted daughter of Li Laoban. And then I remembered her. Oh, 8. Now I know who the author of the love letter is, and I feel much lighter in my heart. I wonder what kind of expectations and feelings Lin He had when he wrote this love letter. I envy Li Qian. I'm recalling when I confessed my feelings to Lin He in my 2nd year of high school. What did he say back then? Oh, he said, understood. The tone was cold and distant, as if it were a bother. In the evening, I finished organizing the wrong questions and planned to review some English words. The phone lighted up, and Song Su sent me several documents. Song Su, this is my mother's math test paper. You can do it too. Ask me if you don't understand. His mother is a training teacher for the Olympiad math class, so I also got some extra tutoring. I thanked him and sent a meme. Suddenly, the door of the room opened. Lin He entered with a gloomy expression. This was the first time he had entered without knocking. Did you touch something in my room? He didn't say what it was, but I knew. My heart felt uneasy, and I took the letter out from the drawer. Sorry, I didn't mean to peek. I had intended to play matchmaker for them, but I didn't expect it to be exposed so quickly. Lynn, he took back the letter, probably because his secret was exposed. His face was very bad. I felt a sourness in my heart, but still gathered my courage and said, I know who you wrote about in the letter. It's that girl from the dessert shop, right? Since you like her, you should confess to her sooner. She's so excellent. What if someone else gets her first? Anyway, the college entrance examination is coming soon. After it's over, you can pursue her properly. Then you can buy desserts for her openly without having to use the excuse of buying for me. Who asked you to meddle in my business? He stared at me with a deep gaze, full of anger. I just want you to be a bit happier. He snorted. I guess you're eager to get rid of me now that you've started dating someone else. You said you liked me before, but you've changed pretty quickly. I was stunned, not expecting him to think that way. You don't like me, so do you expect me to hang on to one tree forever? I retorted angrily. Yes, you'd better not hang on to me. I find it unlucky, he said coldly, then turned around and left, slamming the door. I bit my lower lip, trying hard not to let tears fall. Damn Linhee. I will never like you again in my life. 9. For the next week, I didn't say a word to Linhee. My father thought we were both studying hard, so he didn't say anything. I'm free this weekend. I'm going to the library with Song-soo to do problems. His grades are better than mine, and his thinking is more flexible. He often explains problems to me. When I feel stressed, he will take me for a drive on his black motorcycle. Just thinking about us being good friends for a long time makes me have some expectations for the future. Maybe I've worked twice as hard this time, and my grades improved by more than 10 places in the monthly exam. My father was so happy after getting a call from the homeroom teacher. Linhee, who was making coffee, heard it and glanced at me, muttering with a low laugh, wow, dating didn't affect your studies, you too. You were infatuated with someone but it didn't stop you from getting first place in the exam. I intentionally provoked him back, turned around and went back to my room to study, not looking at his dark expression. College entrance exam countdown 1 month. That was the time when I was the most indifferent. My mind only focused on studying and scores, with no time to think about love. June comes with the hot weather. Along with the college entrance exam, this time I was well prepared. And I wrote with confidence. Even the last math problem, which I used to give up on, I could at least answer something this time, although I didn't know if the answer was correct. 10. The final bell rang, ending the exam. It also marks the end of my high school life once again. I walked out of the exam room and saw Li Qian and Linhee standing together. She seemed to have not done well on some questions and was impatiently checking answers with him. Maybe it's because love makes one see beauty in the beloved. Linhee is always more patient with her than with others. I passed by them and ran towards Junpan and Song-soo. We had agreed to go to the amusement park, KTV, and Happy Valley, and have a great time. During the time before the results came out, I was constantly out having fun, and my father didn't even bother to manage me anymore. It's strange that Linhee calls me every day and asks me what time I'll be back. Sometimes, if I come back late, Song-soo will ride his bike to send me home. Every time he runs into me, he will make some sarcastic remarks. For example, today is my birthday, and I'm officially 18 years old. I came home late at night, had some alcohol, and Song-soo didn't ride his bike. He walked slowly with me. When I got to the building, he suddenly called out to me, Li Wan, from now on, I'll spend every birthday with you, okay? The sky was too dark, and I couldn't see his expression clearly, thinking that this was the beginning of our revolutionary friendship. Of course it's good, you're my best brother. I slapped him several times, and he coughed, with a hint of loneliness in his eyes. You hit hard, you almost didn't have a brother anymore. We looked at each other and laughed. We just happened to meet Linhee when he came down to throw out the trash. He looked at us with resentment and said in a bad mood, Li Wan, it's already past 12. Aren't you going home? Hey, go back, your little childhood friend is calling you. Song-soo whispered teasingly, waved at me, and reminded me to go home and have some honey water. 11. The elevator was going up, and Linhee was still talking. For the first time, I found him talkative like an old woman. Are you annoying? I'm back, aren't I? He stiffened, his tone strange. Am I annoying? You promised me you'd be back before 10. What if something happened to you? How would I explain it to Uncle? Today is an exception, and I'm with Song-soo. There's no danger. Even if I don't come back, I have somewhere to go. Going out at night. Where else do you want to go with him? Don't think because you're dating he can do whatever he wants. Linhee's tone became serious, his whole body full of alertness. I looked at him strangely. Why are you so angry? He looked away uncomfortably and fell silent, entering the house. I was pouring water when he spoke in a low voice. You have your birthday today. Why didn't you invite me? Oh, I forgot. Actually, I didn't forget. I just didn't want to think about unhappy things on such a happy day. He lowered his eyes and went to the fridge to get me some honey. After a while, he handed me a blue box. Happy birthday, thank you. I finished the honey water, but I didn't feel like opening the gift box. He hesitated for a while, then seemed to want to say something but held back, and went back to his room with his head down. I don't have high expectations for the gift he gave me. He used to give me a doll every year, those kind of dolls you can get by scanning a QR code on the street, common dolls you can see everywhere. Now, my bed is still filled with those stuffed toys. I opened the box without much interest, and was instantly stunned. It was a handmade little girl, carrying a sunflower backpack, very similar to me when I was young. The person who wove it was clearly a beginner. With 2 obvious holes visible to the eye, he actually made it by hand. This is really rare in my life. 12. The day the college entrance exam results came out, my father accompanied us to check the scores. He unsurprisingly still got high scores, 698. When I saw the score of 622, tears immediately flowed down my face. Great, great, you really made me proud, my father said with red eyes, patting my head, and said he would take us out for a big meal that night. My father took a screenshot of the score and quickly posted it on his social media to show off. By the way, Juan, where do you plan to go to school? When are you going to fill out your application? I'll stay in a 985 university here. I want to be close to my father. Chenpan and Songsu seem to also plan to study in the same province. Okay. Then I don't have to worry about you going to a distant city where you don't know anyone. I didn't do well last time, so I had to choose nursing as my major. This time I can choose to study medicine. My mother passed away when I was very young. Back then medical technology wasn't advanced, so I want to contribute as much as I can. He saw his own score, and seemed unsurprised. Li Qian's score is probably similar to his. They can go to Beijing University together. That's really great. While my father was on the phone, he suddenly asked me, do you want to stay in the local area mainly because of Songsu? Do you really like him that much? What's that got to do with you? I'm a bit annoyed with him now, feeling like he's been getting too involved lately. He was staring at me, and his expression was no longer as indifferent as before. Li Wan, if you say so, I can also stay in this province with you. No need, you have such good grades. Staying here would be a waste. You should go to your ideal Beijing University. Li Qian is probably also going to get in. And you two can keep each other company. I didn't give her the love letter. Oh, my phone lit up, and Songsu was calling me. I was just about to answer the call when he grabbed my wrist, looking a bit angry. Don't you care at all? Care about what? Care about you, who said not to hang on one tree, worried about bad luck. He turned pale all of a sudden when I repeated the exact words back to him. I pulled my hand away and went to the balcony to answer the phone. 13. Songsu's parents both work in this province, so he stayed here and his college application was consistent with mine. Great, we can ride bikes together again. After that day, I didn't pay much attention to He's movements, whether he chased Li Qian or not. It had nothing to do with me. A month passed. I spent every day with Songsu, learning to drive and taking the driving test, and I got a bit tanned. He received the admission notice from Beijing University, and he left without saying goodbye to me at the start of the semester, as if he was upset with me. The daily life of a medical student is so busy. There's so much knowledge to learn. I run between the library and the classroom every day, and Songsu has to choose a time to invite me to eat. During the final exams, I looked at 2 thick books like bricks and felt like crying. Songsu noticed I was getting thinner and often brought me food and kept me company while I studied. Why do you look so relaxed? Don't you need to study at all? I asked him. It's all in my head. He shrugged. I enviously look at every person with a good memory, probably because Songsu often comes to see me. The classmates started talking and thought he was chasing me, and I also vaguely felt something, that he was different from others towards me, but Songsu always acted as if everything was the same, so I didn't initiatively point it out. After the exam, I celebrated Songsu's birthday at school, but my mind was preoccupied with whether I had answered my pathology questions correctly. Songsu looked at the candles and smiled. I don't have any wishes. Maybe I'll wish for you, Li Wan. Don't be so serious. I'll wish for you in the future. Will that make you smile? I forced a smile and didn't hold back at all. I hope I don't fail the class. Please, okay, the heavens have heard. He blew out the candles, smiling with a look of indulgence in his eyes. 14. During the summer vacation, I met He, who I hadn't contacted for half a year. He still chose law, and seemed to be frequently involved in various debate competitions and club activities, and was quite busy. For the past 2 weeks, we have been getting along peacefully, like strangers, until Thursday night. Lin he went out to a friend's gathering and came back very late. I was almost asleep when I heard a stumbling sound at the door, which knocked into the entrance cabinet. I walked out and saw Lin he sitting on the floor, looking dejected. What's wrong? Did you get drunk? I was about to make him some honey water when he suddenly grabbed my wrist. Li Wan, I met Song-soo today. Then what? He said you two never actually got together. Oh. I responded indifferently. Not knowing how I had triggered his nerves, Lin he suddenly stood up and pushed me against the wall, his eyes filled with complex emotions. Why didn't you tell me? Why did you let me be mistaken for so long? Is it fun to play with me? Do you know how much He didn't finish speaking. His red eyes looked like they were about to cry. I looked at him without any expression, but I wasn't really emotionless inside. But I just found it funny. Lin I explained to you before. But you didn't want to listen. Now, what position do you have to question me? In silence, he seemed to recall a scene from a long time ago in that cafeteria, where he saw Li Wan sitting with a boy. He had to admit that at that moment he felt very annoyed. This feeling had been continuing until now, getting deeper and deeper. Lin he wiped his eyes and looked at me with courage. Li Wan, I think I can't let go of you. Can you continue to like me? I had imagined this scene many times before. But when it actually happened, it was already too late. No, why? He became anxious and tightly gripped me. Was it because of that love letter? I was immature before, couldn't tell the difference between love and admiration. I don't like Li Qian. I just felt a kind of mutual understanding with her. Is that true? But I never felt your love for me. I only felt his impatience and indifference towards me. Give me a chance. Let's start over, and I'll make sure you feel it properly, okay? He begged, with a drunken gaze staring at me, as if I were the last lifeline when he was drowning. But he didn't feel it. He hurt me at this moment. I pushed him several times, but he didn't let go. The more I resisted, the more anxious he became. Li Wan, please like me again. He bent down to kiss me. I panicked and turned away, and I slapped him. The loud sound shattered the quiet night. The pain on my face brought his sanity back. Lin he suddenly let go. I'm sorry, I didn't listen to his explanation and ran back to my room. 15. The next day, I tried to act like nothing happened, but Lin he's eyes looked very guilty. At noon, Song-soo came to pick me up. We had agreed to go see the latest released movie today. He knocked on the door lazily and even put on sunglasses to show off. As soon as I opened the door, he saw my gloomy expression and his face turned serious. What's wrong with you? Are you sick or in a bad mood? It's okay. I reached for my hat to put it on, and he suddenly grabbed my wrist. A red mark, even some bruising, was clearly caused by external force. Who did this? He became alert and even showed some police-like demeanor. I accidentally hurt myself. Song-soo clearly didn't believe me. His eyes fixed on Lin he on the sofa, and he grabbed his collar and pulled him forward. Did you bully her? Yes. Lin he has been staring at us since earlier, and he's already extremely annoyed. You bastard. Song-soo suddenly swung a punch, and I was so scared that I grabbed him immediately. It seemed that Lin he had found an outlet for his frustration, pulling Song-soo to fight with him. I was flustered and shouted for them to stop. If my dad comes back and sees the mess, he'll definitely scold us to death. Stop fighting. Can't you be calm for a moment? I grabbed Song-soo and pulled him away, seeing that he had a wound on his face. How could a future people's police officer be so impulsive? However, Lin he's face wasn't much better either. Song-soo had been trained, and he specifically targeted the painful spots. Lin he's face was pale, but there were no visible marks for the time being. Song-soo didn't dare to say a word when I glared at him. He weakly said, "The movie is about to start. Let's go." "Why are you watching a movie? You're injured like this. Come with me to buy some medicine." I angrily pulled him out of the door, completely forgetting that there was another person who was also injured. Lin he looked at the two figures walking away, feeling lonely as he covered his abdomen. After buying the medicine, I applied it to Song-soo, and he winced in pain. Don't fight recklessly anymore. What you learned is for protecting the people, not for fighting. Humph, he bullied you, and you're still defending him. I'm not. I'm speaking for you. If you get reported and punished, won't it affect your job as a police officer? Song-soo was taken aback. A smile tugged at the corner of his mouth, but then it dropped again due to the pain. Li Wan, you're so worried about me. No, you have. 16. Since the argument with Lin he hasn't done anything extreme anymore, but he really seems to have started liking me, trying to make me feel it. Every holiday, he comes back to cook for me and gives me carefully prepared gifts. On my birthday, National Day, Christmas. There's always his presence at school. I see him with dark circles under his eyes from traveling by plane. I just feel he's wasting his time, but he only cares about whether I'm happy or not. My senior year birthday, also the end of my undergraduate studies, I studied for 7 years in a row, and after that I would move to another campus. Song-soo was sent to do a task by the bureau and couldn't come back to celebrate my birthday. He was cooking in the kitchen. And he had prepared all the dishes I like. I was staring at the chat window with Song-soo, distracted. What are you looking at? Dinner is ready. Nothing. I don't know what Song-soo has been busy with these days. Is what he's doing dangerous? If he, he coldly cut me off, and I suddenly came back to my senses, realizing that the person sitting in front of me was Lin-hee. You've been mentioning him since I came back. He looked very dissatisfied, but also helpless. Oh, sorry. Lee-won, when will you finally look at me? Eat, this soup looks good. Lin-hee felt he had tried hard enough. Why couldn't he go back to the past? Late at night, I was about to go to sleep when my phone lit up. Song-soo, open the window. I quickly pulled back the curtain and saw Song-soo standing below, waving something that was glowing on his hand. I ran down and looked at him in surprise. You said you might not be back from the mission. Yes, but I couldn't help it. I promised someone. And I'll be with her every birthday from now on. He handed me the bottle that was glowing in his hand. The fireflies are flying inside, flickering in the dark. It's for you. I saw it when I was on a mission. I thought you might like it. Thank you. I smiled at him, feeling that he had more to say. I vaguely guessed what it was. But he kept looking at me, and finally sighed gently. Lee-won, happy birthday. 17. Song-soo was interning. I was in graduate school. When Song-soo became a team leader in the police station, I had just started my internship in the hospital. Every time I see people suffering from illness or death, I feel a bit sad, until one day, several seriously injured people were brought to the hospital. Song-soo was among them. His abdomen was stabbed, his spleen was injured, and he was bleeding heavily. My mentor worked hard to save him, and only after the red light in the operating room went out did he stabilize. I took a moment to check on him, and his face was pale, as if he wouldn't wake up any second. I had red eyes and silently prayed that he wouldn't have any more problems. Late at night, I was reviewing neurosurgery knowledge by his bedside when I suddenly saw his finger move slightly. Looking up, I met his eyes. Lee-won, did you save me? No, it was my mentor. I only helped a little bit. I got up to check his condition, asked if he felt dizzy or wanted to vomit, and recorded everything. Then I felt relieved. You look very professional now. Song-soo smiled, his eyes bright. Of course, I did study hard for 7 years. Then I'll rely on Dr. Lee in the future. What are you talking about? Don't let me see you in the hospital again. He smiled, gently touching my fingertip with his wrist. After hesitating for a while, he didn't take my hand. A nurse came to call me for rounds. And I gave him some instructions before leaving. Then came the busy daily routine. Song-soo stayed in the hospital for a month, and many colleagues came to visit him. Every time I went for rounds, his friend would wink and make a face, as if everyone understood, but Song-soo didn't show any reaction at all, until the day he was discharged. He didn't say anything, and he still called me Dr. Lee. I handed him the medicine in a bad mood and wrote down the instructions clearly. Hey, Song-soo. Is there anything you want to say to me? What? I will strictly follow the medical advice. He pretended not to know. I glared at him in anger. You'd better never say it. 18. In the following years, Song-soo often went on missions, traveling all over the country, and sometimes I couldn't reach him. He was still as excellent as ever, entering a top law firm after graduation, and became a top lawyer within a few years. He is now very rich and sometimes sends me some strange but very expensive things. I haven't even had a chance to open some of them. They're all piled up in my father's study. The hospital is too busy. Sometimes I don't even have time to eat. He came to see me a few times, but he didn't say much, and I had to go back to work again. He still doesn't give up. Whenever he has time he contacts me, and sometimes he sends flowers to the hospital, sometimes when I'm drunk. He calls me and repeatedly asks me, Lee-won, how can you possibly like me? Tell me, okay, why are you doing this to me? You were the one who liked me first. How can you just change your mind? I was wrong. I shouldn't have said those things. Please come back. Let's continue to like each other. Lee-won, I really miss you. No one's feelings change all of a sudden. In the many years we've been together. In the 10 years we got married in the previous life. He had so many chances to say I love you. Since he didn't, then it's over. Look forward. 19. Time passed quickly, and I'm now 32 years old again. In the previous life, I died in an elevator accident in December of that year. I don't know if anything will happen this year. The phone rang and interrupted my thoughts. Song-soo's lazy voice came through. Dr. Lee, my birthday is next week. What are you going to give me? I let out a cold laugh. I'll give you the best wishes. This guy has been dragging his feet for so many years not to confess his feelings to me, making us not a couple but yet closer than one, which has seriously affected my love life. He even wants me to give him gifts. Dream on. He smiled faintly and said, the Bureau is planning to promote me, my overseas assignments will be reduced, and I can stay in this province permanently from now on. Oh, and then what? I also played dumb with him. Then, this year's birthday wish I made myself. If my wish is to confess my feelings to you, do you think it will come true? You try it. I tried to stay calm, but a bit of sweetness rose in my heart. Before the phone call ended, a nurse rushed in and said the director needed to hold an emergency meeting. I quickly took my notebook and rushed over. The director said that a magnitude 8 earthquake had occurred in Tongqing, and the hospital needed to send personnel for support. No wonder I felt a dizziness at noon. It wasn't a delusion after all. I'm on the list. I quickly gathered my things and followed the group to Tongqing. When I arrived at the scene, there was a pile of ruins and cries of sorrow. My colleague and I didn't have time to grieve. We immediately joined the support efforts. There are not enough supplies here. The roads are also inconvenient to access, and many medicines are missing. We all posted on WeChat to call for help, and he immediately contacted me, saying he could donate supplies. Me, thank you, lawyer. How do you thank me? Is that all you can say to me? Me, I have to go to work. Take care. Contact me if you need anything. 20, late at night, I was about to take over the shift with a colleague when a sudden tremor made people panic. Quick, get under the table, my colleague shouted. I had just taken a step when the ground suddenly gave way. The broken earth blocks fell quickly. Then there was darkness, and I lost consciousness. The second earthquake was not as strong as the first, but the damage was still significant. I was trapped below, pinned by the rocks, unable to move. I don't know how long it had been, but my body started to go numb, and my hands lost sensation. I was parched and too weak to even shout for help. The darkness around me made me think of the moment the elevator lost gravity. Was it all predestined? Am I still going to die? My phone in my pocket lit up, and I saw it was Song-Soo calling. But I couldn't answer it. That's terrible. I even got a second chance at life, but still couldn't hear the confession from the person I like. My consciousness gradually faded away, and my body also started to lose warmth. A hurried voice came from above. Li Wan, where are you? 21. It felt like I had slept for a century. When I woke up, I found myself back at the hospital where I work. Li Wan, you're awake. How are you? Is there anywhere that hurts? Song-Soo was looking at me anxiously. His eyes filled with tears. I shook my head. How was the rescue? Are the colleagues who were trapped with me okay? He was angry, but then grabbed my hand as if he had found something precious. Good that you're awake. He bent down, and tears fell on my hand, especially scorching. Did you save me? Yes, I couldn't reach you. And then our team was sent for support. Thank you. Thanks, you've saved me too. We're even. Song-Soo called a doctor to check me, then bought me a nutritional meal and fed me bite by bite, like taking care of a child. I stayed in the hospital for a few days, and Song-Soo watched over me for those few days. On the day I was discharged, Song-Soo suddenly wasn't there. I packed my things by myself and planned to go home and have a good meal. As I was about to leave the hospital, roses suddenly started falling from the sky. I hadn't even reacted yet. Song-Soo was dressed formally, kneeling on one knee in front of me, the diamond ring in his hand shining. Li Wan, I like you. I've liked you since high school, but because of my career, I've always been afraid to be stable with you, worried about holding you back. Now, can you give me this chance? Li Wan, will you marry me? His colleagues and friends were throwing paddles around, and my colleagues were also cheering. I was so embarrassed my face turned bright red. Who came up with this stupid idea? It's so cheesy. I covered my face, catching a glimpse of a well-dressed figure outside the crowd. He was holding a bouquet of roses, as if he had rushed over, with sweat on his forehead. His face was pale, and he touched the square box in his pocket. Dr. Lee, how much longer do you want me to kneel? Song-Soo asked me in a low voice. His eyes filled with anxiety. I laughed and said, I do. The ring was perfectly sized for my ring finger. Finally, I waited for it. Song-Soo suddenly hugged me and cried excitedly, Wow, Captain, are you okay? The girls didn't cry. Do you understand? That's love. I'm so envious. If I go back to high school, is it still possible? I don't want to be a lonely king anymore. That night, I received a message from Linhee. Are you really going to marry him, Li Wan? I was with you the longest. Why is it him in the end? Take another look at me, okay? I deleted the message and blocked him. The person behind me wrapped around me and kissed me. Focus, 22. The day I married Song-soo, Lin he didn't come, but he sent a very expensive diamond. When Song-soo saw the gift, he started to act suspiciously, thinking that Lin he still had ulterior motives. Then he set the diamond on a collar and put it on my father's poodle. A year after my marriage, Lin he was still single. Later, I got pregnant and gave birth to a daughter, and he was still single. My father even advised him to find a girlfriend soon, as there were so many girls chasing him. He silently drank, his face dark and gloomy. After dinner, Lin he looked at the little girl in the crib and bit his lip. Lee Won, she looks like you. If only back then. He didn't finish, held back his feelings, and sighed slightly. Song-soo frowned and looked at him suspiciously. What are you thinking? She's my wife. Legal. Don't have any wrong ideas. Lin he laughed bitterly. She's only legal for now. Life is so long, who knows when they might get divorced, he thought maliciously, a bitter feeling rising in his heart. Song-soo wanted to punch him again, but restrained himself in front of the family. On the way back, Song-soo was in a bad mood. He wanted to scold a dog just for passing by. In the middle of the night, Song-soo suddenly got up and asked me, "Wife, where did you put the marriage certificate?" "What's wrong? I'm going to hide it." "What's wrong with you?" I went back to sleep, and he started thinking about where to hide it. End of main text. Extra chapter. My name is Lin Hee. From the first day I arrived at the Lee family, I knew that I and Lee Won would never be equal. Although Uncle Lee was very kind to me, if Lee Won fell down, he would blame me for not watching her properly, so I always followed Lee Won and protected her. People say I'm a man who lives off his wife's family. I didn't argue back, because that's how it is. Living under someone else's roof, I really hate that feeling. I also hate Lee Won because of the hatred for the house. She always lingers around me, wanting to follow me to do this and that. I can't refuse her, but I feel repulsion from the bottom of my heart. In order not to make my uncle think that I'm an ungrateful foster child, I have to please Lee Won and not let her get angry. As I grew older, she became more and more beautiful and well-behaved. I started to often glance at her. And when she found out, I would pretend to be cold and say she was vain. I don't want to fall in love with her. I don't want to lose my last bit of dignity. However, in my second year of high school, Lee Won confessed her feelings to me. I couldn't help but feel happy in my heart, but I forced myself to suppress it. Her response to me was a bit disappointed, but the next day she kept chasing after me. One day, she got sick. The medicine was too bitter, and she asked me to go buy her dessert. Seeing her about to cry, I had no choice but to agree. In the dessert shop, I met Lee Qian. She had accidentally broken a freshly made cake, and her adoptive father scolded her for being useless and a burden. If I hadn't been there, that man might have been even harsher. I watch Lee Qian's carefulness, and feel that we are the same. Later, I often made an excuse to buy desserts for Lee Yuan, and went to the store to look for Lee Qian. Every time I bought desserts, I didn't rush back. I sat in the store, feeling like I had gotten a moment of respite. Those were the few times when I didn't have to take care of Lee Yuan's and Uncle's emotions. Sometimes we would talk about our family backgrounds. Lee Qian would always sigh, but then she would try hard to study, like a tenacious little grass. I should like girls like her. Only she could understand my feelings. I wrote Lee Qian a love letter, but I never sent it out. I always felt that my feelings for her weren't enough, and that would be unfair to her. Recently, Lee Yuan has been acting strangely. She always wants to get rid of me. I saw her laughing and talking with Song-soo. I probably guessed that they were dating, saying that she likes me. She changed so fast. I was secretly happy, thinking I could get rid of her. At the same time, I was a bit angry. Why did she like someone else? Later, I found that the love letter was missing. I instinctively suspected that Lee Yuan took it. I felt a bit panicked and angry, and went to look for her. She was surprisingly calm, as if it didn't matter to her who I liked. I was very annoyed. On the day of filling in the college application, I told Lee Yuan that I could stay with her, but she's not interested in me anymore. I was both angry and upset, so I went to Beijing University far away. After arriving, I felt very regretful again. I'm not by Lai Wan's side, but Song-soo is. Lai Wan doesn't talk to me anymore. And even if she does, her lips are always mentioning Song-soo's name. I really hate this. The girl in front of me, wearing a high school uniform and with a face full of collagen, made me a bit unable to react. But no matter what I do, we can't go back. Many years have passed, and Lai Wan and Song-soo never ended up together. I think I still have a chance, but Lai Wan is very busy and always ignores me. I gave her the most expensive things, but she no longer smiled at me like before. I am very scared. Until Lee Wan was rescued, I was completely broken, and suddenly realized that I couldn't wait any longer. I had ordered a diamond ring and flowers, and rushed over. it was still too late. I feel so regretful. Songsu was right. I had so many years to keep Lee Won, but I didn't. I made her sad. I myself pushed her into someone else's arms. I don't want to wish them well. I just want to wish Won Won well. Forever happy. Story 2. I've married my childhood friend 38 times. Each time, my former fiancé, Jigue fan, would come to wreck the wedding scene. He would tear off my veil with a gloomy expression and rough movements. Ji-ran, how dare you marry another man without my permission? Ignoring my cries and pleas, he would take me back and house arrest me. Subjecting me to wanton humiliation, I resisted, struggled, and even called the police, trying every means to escape, but every time I would be caught by Jigue fan. He threatened me with the lives and fortunes of my childhood friend's entire family and my career prospects, forcing me to compromise again and again. However, when I finally compromised and stayed by his side obediently, he thought I was rigid and lifeless. I was reborn 37 times, and each life ended badly. During my 38th rebirth, I didn't want to endure it anymore, since every choice seemed to be wrong. Then I choose for Jigue fan to die. 1. I opened my eyes again and saw the gentle and affectionate face of my childhood friend, Qin Zhan. He choked up and said, Ran, I've finally married you, but there was no ripple in my heart. This is my 38th rebirth, including the original life. I have married Qin Zhan 39 times. Each time, the wedding was never completed smoothly. Ji-ran. Sure enough, the next second, Jigue fan's enraged voice sounded. I turned my head and saw his figure already appearing at the end of the red carpet, staring at me with a gloomy expression. Qin Zhan immediately stood guard in front of me protectively. Don't be afraid, he said firmly. Today is our wedding. I won't let anyone ruin this wonderful day. It's useless. The Ji family is a business tycoon with great power and influence. So even though Qin Zhan and I kept the news of our marriage airtight, and we even set the wedding location on the back mountain of a distant relative's hometown of Qin Zhan, he could still find out and come in time to stop it. And Qin Zhan and I, one is an orphan with no one to rely on, and the other is an ordinary student from a small town who excels in exams, against Jigue fan, the only son of the Ji family. It's simply like a mayfly shaking a tree or a mantis trying to block a cart. Qin Zhan had already instructed his relatives that as soon as Jigue fan appeared, some people would immediately hold hoes and machetes, intending to intimidate them, but obviously, they were no match for these well-trained professional bodyguards. Jigue fan didn't even ask them to take action. He threw out large amounts of red banknotes, and those villagers immediately bent down to pick them up, escorted by bodyguards. Jigue fan came to me unobstructed. Qin Zhan was held back by the bodyguards and shouted heartbreakingly, Jigue fan, you're not allowed to touch her. Jigue fan ignored him and just sneered at me. Ji-ran, you've really got some nerve. He tore off my veil and corsage in one go, and there was an uncontrollable violence between his handsome eyebrows and eyes. How dare you marry another man without my permission? Aiya, checking in at the famous scene. Brother Ji is so handsome. I think the female lead should stop struggling and just submit to our brother Ji. Yeah, he has already realized his mistake. He loves you so much. Just go back with him obediently. My pupils trembled. I was shocked when I saw these colorful bullet comments in front of me. These didn't appear in the previous 37 times. Ji-ran, are you even listening to me? Seeing that I didn't react much, Jigue fan became even angrier. He grabbed my wrist and pulled me, wanting to leave. Come with me. Didn't you always want to marry me? We'll go back and get married. Stop being angry. Love me obediently like you used to, and I'll spare Qin Zhan. Why isn't the female lead saying anything? Is she stunned by Brother Ji's domineering handsomeness? How is that possible? She must be thinking about running away in her heart. This drama is about forced love, so she won't be so obedient. This man is so despicable. When the female lead was running after him, he was extremely annoyed by her. Now that the female lead doesn't love him anymore, he's sticking to her. Those who slandered him before, get out. Make it clear that it was the female lead's mother who first tried to get something in return for her kindness, which led to this engagement for the female lead. Brother Ji really didn't like the female lead in the early days. Is he supposed to sacrifice his whole life just because he was saved by her mother? I couldn't agree more. And the female lead's mother was also very scheming. If she hadn't thought that the Ji family was rich, she wouldn't have jumped into the water to save Brother Ji. So Brother Ji is pitiful. In the early days, the female lead was really submissive and not likable. It's normal for him to dislike her. I thought I had already become numb after experiencing the chaotic lives of the previous 37 times. But when I heard someone say that my mother was scheming, I couldn't help but feel angry. My mother wouldn't have died if it wasn't for saving Ji Fan. She had already escaped from my abusive father with me and found a good job. Our lives were about to get better. She was such a good swimmer, but just because Ji Fan, who was drowning, desperately pressed her underwater, she exhausted her strength. After sending Ji Fan to the shore, she sank. She didn't even leave me a last word. How could she have tried to get something in return for her kindness? Okay, stop arguing. Let's get in the car. The famous scene of having sex in the car is starting. I was stuffed into the car by Ji Fan. The car door closed, blocking out Qin Zhan's cries. Ji Fan leaned over and pressed on me, his eyes deep. Ran. Do you know how sad I am? Perhaps because I didn't scold him hysterically like the previous 37 times. Ji Fan's attitude was much gentler. There was a strong affection in his eyes, and his desire gradually rose. His big hand had lifted the wedding dress and reached under my skirt. You can't marry someone else. You're my fiancé. You're mine. Ran. His lips and tongue wandered on my neck, and the hot breath sprayed on my skin, making me feel disgusted and sticky. The bullet comments scrolled through the screen excitedly. Qin Zhan is watching outside the window. And our brother Ji is pressing the female lead on the chair and having sex with her. So exciting, Ji Fan, I said softly. Then do you know how much I hate you? Ji Fan paused in his actions and raised a pair of angry and sad eyes. The next moment, I had already pulled out the hairpin behind my head and stabbed the sharp end into his neck. Blood spurted out. Too, the hot and sticky touch was so clear. Ji Fan's incredulous and terrified expression still remained in front of me. In a flash, I was back at the wedding scene again. The sky was blue, the clouds were white, and the grass was green. The groom, Qin Zhan, smiled and looked at me at the end of the red carpet. The bullet comments scrolled through the screen like crazy. Holy shit, did you all see that just now? Wasn't it my imagination? I saw it. The female lead killed Brother Ji. She stabbed him to death. Goodness me. Isn't the drama I'm watching about the male lead chasing after the female lead and forcing love? Isn't it about her chasing him and him running away and her being unable to escape? How did it turn into a horror scene in the blink of an eye? I remember the original plot wasn't like this. Isn't it supposed to be the famous scene of the male and female leads having sex in the car? Why did the female lead kill the male lead? Mom, it's so eerie. I don't want to watch it anymore. I want to go home. The male lead who forces women to do things deserves to die. The female lead stabbed him well. So satisfying. Don't be too happy yet, those above. Where is the exit button for this video? This rebirth occurred a little earlier than before. Ran. I've finally married you, Ji Ran. But it was only a little earlier. I looked at Ji Fan at the end of the red carpet indifferently. The female lead's eyes are so scary. She won't try to kill Brother Ji again, will she? No. Brother Ji loves you so much. Isn't it good to go back with him and live the life of a wealthy lady in a wealthy family? Why does she have to kill someone? The female lead is so despicable. Why is she treating the male lead like this? It was clearly her and her mother who first tried to get something in return for their kindness. She was the one who provoked the male lead first. Now that the male lead has fallen in love with her, she's making that stinky face. Is she looking for trouble? That's right, the male lead's biggest mistake is that he's been too kind and good-tempered all these years, spoiling her into what she is now. Is Ji Fan too kind and good-tempered? Then what about all the torments I've suffered all these years? Is it the retribution from heaven after my mother saved this scumbag? Either we all had an illusion just now, or this drama suddenly went crazy. The plot will definitely be normal next. That's right, that's it, don't be afraid. Qin Zhan stood in front of me just like the previous 39 times. Today is our wedding. I won't let anyone ruin. Qin Zhan, I'm sorry. I pushed him away, tore off my veil and corsage, and walked straight towards Ji Fan. Ji Fan at the end of the red carpet immediately stopped in his tracks, and the violence and gloom between his eyebrows and eyes melted away. He glanced triumphantly at Qin Zhan, who was blocked by the bodyguards behind me, and looked at me with a half-smile. Ji Ran. At least you have some conscience. I didn't say anything. I just stepped forward quickly, and with precision and force, I stabbed the sharp object in my hand into his neck. Ji Fan's eyes widened in. Ran. I pulled out the hairpin, and blood spurted out from his neck. Under the sunlight, it was as beautiful as a fountain of blood. After a short moment of silence, a series of panicked screams immediately rang out around us. Murder. The bodyguards rushed up and pinned me to the ground. Ji Fan covered his neck, and his body also slumped down uncontrollably. He looked terrified, in disbelief, dazed and at a loss, as if he couldn't understand how things could have turned out like this. I had clearly walked towards him on my own initiative. I had clearly loved him so much. How could I kill him? In his terrified and confused gaze, I saw myself with blood on my face, and my smile was more carefree than ever before. Holy shit. The female lead killed the male lead again. She's still smiling. My goodness, how can she still smile? Aia, my brother G. How dare the female lead? How dare she? Where the hell is the exit button? I really don't want to watch anymore. Double kill. Congratulations to the female lead for achieving a double kill. The last bullet comment caught my attention. However, before I could take a closer look, Ji fan, unwilling and resentful, took his last breath. When I opened my eyes again, he had changed his clothes and was alive again. Ji ran. I'll give you one more chance. Kneel down and wipe Han Ying's shoes clean. He leaned carelessly on the leather sofa in the private room of the bar, holding a woman in a red dress in his arms, with a haughty and indifferent expression. If you do it, I'll still recognize you as my fiancé. If you don't, get out of the Ji family. Brother Gue fan, this isn't very appropriate, is it? After all, Sister Ranran has an engagement with you. The woman in the red dress, Jiang Haining, Ji Guifan's childhood sweetheart, pretended to be reluctant and persuaded him. What engagement? I recognize it, and she's my fiancé. If I don't recognize it, Ji Guifan sneered. Those peach blossom eyes that should have been gentle and affectionate were now surging with resentment and jealousy. He enunciated each word clearly. She's a promiscuous and two-faced slut. I remembered. This was 2 months before my wedding with Qin Zhan. Ji Guifan saw me chatting and laughing with Qin Zhan and believed that I was promiscuous and would flirt with any man I saw, so he deliberately humiliated me. In the original life, this was the moment when I completely saw through Ji Guifan's true nature and decided to give up on him. What's going on? Why is the timeline getting earlier each time? Although I'm a fan of the male and female leads as a couple, I have to say that the male lead is really despicable at this time. Just because he saw the female lead chatting with her childhood friend for a while, he wants to humiliate the female lead like this. The male lead has probably changed dozens of bed partners. The male lead is a young master of a wealthy family. It would be strange if a 25-year-old person was still a virgin, right? Then what about the female lead? Does the female lead have to wait for the male lead with her virginity intact? It's precisely the male lead's scumminess and despicability in the early stage that can better set off how satisfying it is when he becomes a lackey for the female lead in the later stage. I like this kind of plot. I like it and I want more. Where's the satisfaction? I only see the female lead's pain and struggle. The male lead really deserves to die. I support the female lead in killing him for the 3rd time. What? You don't want to? Ji Guifan looked at me and smiled, but his eyes had no warmth at all. Do you want to be a housewife for your little childhood friend, Ji Ran? Are you really so inseparable from men? Suddenly, he flew into a rage, stood up, and grabbed my neck, gnashing his teeth and saying, do you still remember that you're my Ji Guifan's fiancé? For fuck's sake. I had difficulty breathing. But I still couldn't help laughing. Ji Guifan, do you know that you're the most despicable person I've ever met in my life? Ji Guifan raised his eyebrows in surprise and said in disbelief, what did you say? I said. I picked up the fruit knife on the fruit plate and stabbed it hard into Ji Guifan's abdomen. Then I pulled it out and stabbed it in again. I said you're a despicable person. A despicable person. Did you ever consider me your fiancé? Do you still remember that my mother died to save you? 3. Ji Guifan covered his wound and stumbled onto the sofa. His childhood sweetheart, his close friends, and the hostesses in the bar all let out a scream and scattered like birds and beasts. Ji Guifan looked in pain, but there was still residual anger on his face. It was clearly you and your mother who tried to get something in return for your kindness. Don't say that to me. I pounced on him and stabbed him with another knife. Then I held the handle of the knife and twisted it hard. The engagement between you and me was insisted on by your parents. My mother died saving you. I was only 7 years old at that time. Could a 7-year-old child coerce your Ji family into arranging an engagement between me and you? What's more, don't you know exactly what kind of life I've lived all these years? What kind of fiancé am I? I'm clearly a dog that your Ji family raised for you. In Ji Guifan's wide, terrified eyes, I saw myself, covered in blood and looking frenzied. If it weren't for you, my mother wouldn't have died at all. She was such a good swimmer. It was you who pushed her underwater again and again. Go to hell, go to hell, go to hell. I lost count of how many times I stabbed him. I just felt an unprecedented sense of relief. The resentment and indignation that had been pent up for so many years had finally found an outlet to pour out. In the end, Ji Guifan lay on the sofa with his eyes wide open. The part below his neck was a mass of blood and flesh, and it was impossible to tell it was a human shape. I was completely drained of strength and slumped down in a pool of blood, laughing with great satisfaction. The bullet comments that had briefly paused started scrolling like crazy again. Some people thought I was too heartless, some were scared by me. Some people thought I was quite patient to hold on until now before going crazy. There were also those who felt sorry for Jigui fan and cursed me wildly. I didn't care about any of it. I just stared intently at the bullet comments, until finally, another bullet comment popped up. Triple kill. Congratulations to the female lead for achieving a triple kill. I didn't close my eyes. I watched as the scene in front of me twisted and changed, and in an instant, it became the grand hall of the G family's villa. The clothes were fragrant, the women's hair was styled beautifully. There were numerous guests, and the music was melodious. This was 3 years ago. It was Ji Guifan's mother's 50th birthday banquet. Before I could snap out of the exhilaration of killing Ji Guifan with my own hands, the 22-year-old Ji Guifan suddenly rushed out and pulled me away. He walked quickly and urgently, and I couldn't keep up at all. I instinctively struggled. Ji Guifan suddenly turned around. His eyes bloodshot. Ji Ran, is this what you want? Do you even know what shame is? His words were confusing, but I understood. He had been drugged. It was an aphrodisiac secretly administered to him by the sworn enemy of the Ji family. The intention was to create a scandal and shame the Ji family. As a result, Ji Guifan mistakenly thought that I was the one who had drugged him and took me to the room and raped me. Even though more than 30 lifetimes had passed, just thinking about that night's experience made me feel terrified and Ji Guifan is not human at all. He's just a rutting beast. After that night, I fainted for a full 3 days. As soon as I woke up, I faced the harsh scolding of the entire Ji family. I always knew you were a restless one, but I never expected you to be so bold as to drug Guifan directly at the banquet. Do you know how strong that drug is? It could have hurt Guifan's body. We raised you so big, not for you to bite the hand that feeds you. I said it wasn't me, that I didn't drug Ji Guifan, that I didn't know anything about it at all, and that it was Ji Guifan who raped me. Ji's mother scolded me. Who else should we blame if not you? You're Guifan's fiancé. Isn't that what we keep you for? Still talking about being raped, pretending to be a chaste and heroic woman. You dared to drug him, but you don't dare to take responsibility. No one was willing to listen to my explanation. Everyone, just like Ji Guifan, believed that I was a scheming woman who coveted wealth and glory. Afraid that Ji Guifan wouldn't marry me, I was trying to force the issue at the birthday banquet and make them fulfill the engagement and marry me into the family. I was punished by being put in confinement. A high fever led to pneumonia, and I almost died. Later, when the truth came out and they realized that I wasn't the one who had drugged him, they just casually said, "So it wasn't you, then why didn't you say so earlier?" Ji Guifan didn't show the slightest bit of remorse. Instead, he said jokingly, "Well, you made a profit then, Ran. If I hadn't been drugged by mistake, I might never have touched you in my life." Not only did he not apologize, he didn't even admit to wrongly accusing me. "Since you want it, I'll satisfy you." Ji Guifan's breath, reeking of alcohol, sprayed on my face. His turbid eyes, stained by wine and debauchery, were full of animalistic desire. Stop killing, stop killing. Although the male lead really deserves to die at this moment. But female lead baby, you don't want to be trapped in the loop forever, right? Only by following the original plot can you truly get out of the loop. Female lead, even if I'm begging you, really stop killing. This world revolves around the male lead. Only by obediently following the original plot will the female lead gain happiness. Why doesn't she understand that? Happiness. Ever since my mother drowned while saving Ji Guifan, I've no longer had the ability to feel true happiness. Ji Guifan is the source of all my pain in this life. As long as he's alive, I'll never be able to be truly happy. Moreover, haven't I tried following the original plot? Whether I'm gentle and submissive or fiercely resistant, as long as Ji Guifan is around, I always end up with a bad outcome. I remember this plot was also very cruel. The female lead fainted for 3 days for the first time and was wrongly accused of drugging someone. She was put in confinement, had a high fever that led to pneumonia, and almost died. Our brother Ji didn't know the truth either. Female lead, can't you talk to him properly? That's right. At this time, he already has feelings for you in his heart. He just can't accept that the person he likes is scheming against him like this. If you talk to him properly, the result this time will definitely be different from before. I suppressed the urge to vomit and lowered my head meekly and timidly. The bullet comments were filled with joy and excitement. Thank goodness, the female lead is finally willing to make a change. Ji Guifan snorted coldly and dragged me straight upstairs. I casually took a dinner knife from the dining table and hid it in the sleeve of my dress against my skin. Wait a minute. No, did I see it wrong? As soon as we entered the door, Ji Guifan threw me onto the bed and then pounced on me eagerly. Ji Ran, How old are you and already so lustful? Are you so afraid that I won't marry you that you're willing to drug me just to tie yourself to me? Is this your love for me? G ran. Fine. I'll grant you your wish. The dinner knife pierced through the fabric of his suit and stabbed into his lower body without a sound. Perhaps the pain comes more slowly to someone who has been drugged with a powerful aphrodisiac. It wasn't until the blood from my second stab splattered on my face that Ji Guifan realized it was his own blood, not the blush on my face. The pain came crashing down, and he involuntarily arched his body, like a shrimp with its intestines removed. Ji ran. Are you crazy? The bullet comments were equally in a state of collapse. Didn't you say you would talk properly? Why are you stabbing him again? Talk properly? Why should I talk properly to a beast? He doesn't understand human language anyway, and it would just be a waste of my breath. But I was still in a good mood and replied to Ji Guifan's words. I'm not crazy. I'm just fighting back against a rapist who has lost his humanity. Ji Guifan was twitching in pain and curled up into a ball. His face was as red as if it were, his eyes filled with shock, anger, resentment, and more than anything, confusion and bewilderment. A rapist. After understanding the meaning of the word, he became angry. Ji ran. Get it straight. It was clearly you who drugged me. No, if I really drugged you, it would only be rat poison, not an aphrodisiac, even in such intense pain. Ji Guifan's expression showed a brief moment of blankness. He really couldn't understand the deep-seated hatred I had for him. The Ji family had been kind to me. I had been his fiancée since I was a child. Whether I truly loved him or loved the Ji family's wealth and power, it was always my own choice. How could I hate him so much that I wanted to kill him? Ji ran. No, you're not Ji ran. He dragged his body, which was on the verge of fainting from the pain, off the bed and crawled towards the door. Somebody, help, but just like in the original life. When I was being tortured under Ji Guifan and desperately calling for help with no response, this time Ji Guifan's cries for help also went unanswered. I lightly jumped off the bed and locked the door from the inside. Ji Guifan, why did you think it was me who gave you the aphrodisiac? I had wanted the answer to this question for so long. All these years in the Ji family, I was nominally your fiancé, but in reality, wasn't I just a personal nanny that your parents raised for you? No. A nanny has human rights, a salary, and holidays. I'm different. I squatted down and tapped his face with the blood-stained dinner knife one by one. I not only had to be at your beck and call, but I also had to endure all kinds of humiliation from you and your cronies, deliberately pushing me into the water, ordering me to go halfway across the city to buy mung bean cakes and then not eating them, making me cook chicken soup for your beloved childhood sweetheart. That's all fine. Deleting the contract, causing me to mess up the company project and owe 1 million yuan in debt, snatching away the precious sponsorship spot igot, making me take the blame for your cheating crony, and getting me a major demerit, one after another. Ji Guifan, do you know how long I've remembered these things and how long I've hated you? Although I used to ship the male and female leads, well, I can't do it anymore now. I support the female lead in killing this scumbag. Brother Ji was a bit mischievous, but the female lead really did live a wealthy life in the Ji family all these years, and Brother Ji didn't like the female lead before. With his status, what kind of woman couldn't he find? It's not like he was tied to a country bumpkin girl from the countryside since he was a child. He was too, you know. Ji Guifan covered his wound and gasped for breath with difficulty. I admit, I really did these things wrong, but Ran, you also have to understand me. Having a fiancé out of the blue, I wasn't exactly happy about it either. I slashed his face with a knife. Did I force your parents to arrange this engagement for us with a knife? Ji Guifan, have you forgotten that I was only 7 years old when my mother drowned saving you? The tip of the knife approached Ji Guifan's eyes, and only then did fear spread in his eyes. It was your parents who arranged the engagement between me and you in order to have a good reputation for the company. You never even asked about my true wishes. I don't want a goddamn fiancé at all. I scratched his face fiercely. I want my mother. I want my living mother. Ji Guifan, give me back my mother. No, the tip of the knife stabbed deeply into his eye socket, and I heard a scream that was extremely satisfying. The female lead is so ruthless, but why do I feel kind of satisfied? My brother Ji, don't struggle. Those above, anyway. We can't exit, otherwise. Let's look at it from the female lead's perspective and treat it as a revenge story that makes people feel great. I didn't let Ji Guifan die as easily as the previous 3 times. Even if he was blind, he still had his hands. Even if his hands were broken, he still had his feet. The blood flowed bit by bit. He was in so much pain that he didn't have the strength to scream. When the dinner knife finally stabbed into his neck, I even saw a look of relief on his face. Quadrikill. Congratulations to the female lead for achieving a quadra kill. This time, it was 7 years ago. Ji Fan and I were 18 years old and in our senior year of high school. Am I going to search your school bag myself, or are you going to hand over that necklace voluntarily? The 18-year-old Ji Fan had a youthful look in his eyes and brows, but that annoying air of contempt and arrogance seemed to be innate. Firmly taking root between his eyebrows, what's going on now? I know, the supporting female character, Jiang Haining, suspects that the female lead stole her necklace and is here to demand an explanation. The male lead knew that Jiang Haining didn't like the female lead, so to please her, he directly bought an identical necklace and put it in the female lead's school bag. No, what does that mean? Deliberately torturing the female lead. You guys upstairs just found out. This drama has been torturing the female lead from beginning to end, but now our female lead has risen up and can knock down the male lead and the supporting female character in no time. I ignored the unruly Ji Fan. I looked around and, as expected, saw the looks of disdain or contempt from everyone. What a pity, this was the classroom, and there were no convenient weapons at hand. I wondered if a ballpoint pen could pierce through Ji Fan's neck, just as I was worrying. I reached into my school bag and felt it. Immediately, I was overjoyed. How could I have forgotten? During my high school days, I had a serious self-destructive tendency and often carried a small knife with me. Ji Fan, I smiled at him. Can you come over here? I'll give you the necklace. Ji Fan was taken aback, and his sword-like eyebrows furrowed even deeper, but he still came over and said impatiently, "What trick are you playing this time?" I pulled out the small knife and slashed at his neck with all my might. Ji Fan had no precautions against me, a lackey who had always followed him since childhood, submissive, cowardly, and as soft-tempered as cotton. He couldn't have imagined that I would resist. He couldn't have imagined that I would go for the big move right from the start, directly cutting his throat with a knife. Ji Fan covered his neck, which was spurting blood, and stepped back. Ji ran. Jiang Haining supported him and screamed in horror. Are you crazy? The classmates who were watching the commotion around us were immediately scared and scattered in all directions. Ji ran. I took out the diamond necklace that was said to be worth tens of thousands of yuan from my school bag and threw it at his feet. Ji Fan, you put this necklace in my school bag, right? Ji Fan opened his mouth futilely, but could only make a strange hoarse sound. I really can't figure you out. I sighed and casually picked up a glass on the table and smashed it, ignoring the cut on my palm. I held the sharp shard in my hand. Jiang Haining was so scared that she screamed. She didn't care about Ji Fan anymore and crawled out in a panic. Ji Fan fell to the ground and looked at me in horror. What on earth did I do to offend you that you keep torturing me one way after another? My mother saved you, not harmed you, right? 5. I crouched down in front of Ji Fan. Forcefully stabbed the sharp end of the shard into his chest, and then smiled brightly at him. See you later, Ji Fan. Ji Fan's pupils dilated, and fear and despair welled up from the depths of his eyes. In an instant, he stopped breathing, so satisfying, unstoppable. Congratulations to the female lead for achieving a pentakill, you country bumpkin. I will never admit that you are my fiancé. I opened my eyes and saw Ji Fan, who was 9 years old, with an angry and flushed face. People like you aren't even worthy of holding my shoes. What right do you have to be my fiancé? I'm telling you, don't think that just because you saved me and my parents are protecting you, you will definitely marry me in the future. I'd rather marry a pig than you. Wow, 9-year-old brother G, so cute. How could the female lead bear to do it? Yeah, and he's still so young. None of those previous harms have happened yet. He's just an adorable little boy now. Female lead. If you teach him well, he will definitely change for the better. What are you staring at me for? Ji Fan suddenly rushed over and pushed me hard. Don't you dare look at me like that. My 9-year-old body was still too small, and I was a bit unskilled. When I fell to the ground, I realized that my legs were covered in scars, and there were bandages on the serious parts. I remembered. The 9-year-old Ji Fan had a mischievous personality. He had a dispute with his father and mother because he didn't want me as his fiancé. He ran away from home at such a young age. As soon as he left the villa area, he was almost hit by a car. I rushed over and saved him, scraping my legs in the process. Ran. You have to remember that if you want to stay in this family, you have to make Gu Fan like you. You are Gu Fan's fiancé. You should use everything you have to accompany him and protect him. This is the responsibility of a fiancé. Gu Fan's life was saved by your mother. That means your mother's life was exchanged for his. You don't want the person your mother risked her life to save to get hurt, do you? Ji Fan's parents brainwashed me into giving everything for Ji Fan. So even though I was extremely scared when the car came crashing towards us, I still chose to rush out and save Ji Fan, but he didn't appreciate it. just like now. He looked viciously at the injuries on my legs and raised his foot to kick me. I don't care that you saved me. Even if you hadn't saved me, that person wouldn't have dared to hit me. I'm the young master of the G family. Before his kick landed on my wound, I got up and charged at him. Coincidentally, there was a swimming pool right behind him. Ji Guifan fell into the water unexpectedly and opened his mouth to scold me. Ji ran, you gurgle gurgle gurgle. Ji Guifan didn't learn how to swim until he was 14 years old. He struggled in the water and called for help. His gaze gradually changed from anger to fear, but this time, no one would come to save him. I don't know how long it took. Ji Guifan's body sank. He was dead. I looked at the bullet comment still scrolling in the air. Godlike. Congratulations to the female lead for achieving a hexakill. Why are there so many people ahead? A gentle female voice that I hadn't heard for a long time sounded in my ear. I opened my eyes, carefully raised my head, and looked at the person. Short, neat hair that reached the ears, a thin and determined face, gentle eyes, and eyebrows that habitually carried a hint of sadness. Mom, it was Mom. I finally saw Mom again. Ran, you wait here for Mom. There's a big brother who fell into the water over there, and Mom is going to save him. No, my heart started beating violently. I clung tightly to my mother's arm, almost wrapping myself around her with my hands and feet. No, don't go, you'll die. Mom, don't go, don't leave me alone. We've finally managed to live a good life. Don't leave me, don't. I cried heart-wrenchingly, my heart breaking, not caring about anything else. There was only one thought in my heart and eyes, and that was to stop my mother from saving Ji Guifan. The one who deserved to die was never my mother. It was Ji Guifan. Ji Guifan was a jinx, a bad luck charm. Whoever got involved with him would be plagued by bad luck for a lifetime. What's wrong? Ran. Mom is here. Mom is okay. Don't cry. Don't cry. My mother crouched down and hugged me into her arms. Ran. Don't scare Mom. Mom is fine. Mom won't go then. But my tears still wouldn't stop. I had lost count of how many years it had been since I last saw my mother, ever since she died saving Ji Guifan. There had been no glimmer of light in my life. I had struggled in the darkness named Ji Guifan for so many years. This was my 38th rebirth. I seemed to want to vent out all the grievances of the previous 40-something lifetimes. I actually cried myself into a faint in my mother's arms. This time, my mother didn't care about Ji Guifan who had fallen into the water anymore. She picked me up and rushed to the hospital. When I woke up again, my mother was by my side, and on the TV. The news of the drowning death of the only son of the Ji family, the richest family in the area, was being broadcast. Ji Guifan's parents were heartbroken by the river. Congratulations to the female lead, you have successfully achieved the feat of reversing your life. Next.